A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef, no other beef so fresh can be so tender, presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. We'd like to ask a question about your family. Would you say they're hard to please at dinner time? Well, if they are, here's a tip for you. You can have a successful meal anytime when you serve Kroger quality beef. Yes, just serve Kroger quality beef, and you'll find your meal has plenty of eye appeal and taste appeal for that family of yours. And when you visit your nearest Kroger store and buy Kroger quality beef, buy it with confidence, for it's the very best beef you can get right now. It's delicious, it's tender, it's juicy, and it's bound to be a wonderful treat for you and your family. Watch how delighted your folks are when they see what's on the menu, for beef is almost everybody's favorite meat. Yes, lady, you can be sure of delighting everybody when you serve your family's favorite cut of Kroger quality beef. Visit your Kroger store, step up to the counter, and ask for Kroger quality beef the way you like it best. And remember this, Kroger quality beef is the best beef you can get right now. Buy Kroger quality beef with confidence at your neighborhood Kroger store. And now, Hearts in Harmony. Penny Gibbs came home yesterday after her visit with the strange Mrs. Carrie Carlton, Rossville's woman of mystery and wealth, to announce that she had a job working for Mrs. Carlton. But just what Penny is to do for Mrs. Carlton is a secret. It's the next afternoon now, and in Penny's home, the doorbell rings.
I'll get it, Nora. You stay upstairs with the baby. Just a minute.
Good afternoon, Miss Gibbs.
Oh, Professor Rogers, how are you?
Oh, a little cold. You don't have a radiator I can park near for a few minutes, do you?
I certainly do. Come on in. There's a big fire in the fireplace. Maybe you prefer that.
Yeah, I certainly would. I'm not intruding, am I?
Only on my loneliness, Professor.
Oh, Miss Gibbs.
Oh, no, I was joking. I'm in really awfully good spirits today. Oh, give me a coat. I'll hang it up.
Oh, I think I've visited here long enough to know where to hang it myself. I think it'll be all right if I hang it right here, won't it?
That's your special hook, Professor.
Oh, especially mine. I'm flattered.
It wasn't meant to be flattery. I just want you to know that you have a place here anytime you care to call.
Well, right now I'd like that place by the fire. Oh, my hands.
Here. Hey, they are cold, aren't they? Uh-huh. Well, come on, let's get in front of that fire.
Oh, it certainly looks good. You responsible for this, Miss Gibbs?
No, I'm afraid not. The fires I build blaze up for a minute and then fall down. Freddie built this one.
Oh?
All I did was put another log on it a little while ago.
Well, it's a welcome sight.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder where Freddie learned to build such masterful fires.
Oh, an open fire is probably all he knew when he was a kid, Professor. Uh-huh. I don't think many of those city tenements have much of a central heating system.
Oh, well, no, I doubt if they did where Freddie lived anyway. He learned a lot by necessity, didn't he?
Sometimes that's the best way to learn. Oh, why don't you sit down?
Oh, yes, thank you, I will. You're sure I'm not intruding?
No, not at all.
Well, as soon as I've overstayed my welcome, you'll tell me, won't you?
I don't think you can do that, Professor. Would you stay for dinner?
Oh, I'd like to,
We're having a favorite of yours tonight.
Roast lamb?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wish I could stay, Miss Gibbs, but there's a faculty meeting at the university tonight, and dinner at the science club before that, and I have to be there for both.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If by any chance you have leftovers tomorrow night...
Oh, there'll be leftovers the night after tomorrow night. But why don't you come tomorrow night instead?
I won't be...
No, you won't be intruding. In fact, you can be the man of the house tomorrow night. Freddie's going to spend the night at the farm with Mr. Williams.
Oh, all right. Well, I won't have to carve anything fancy, will I?
No, don't worry about that. We buy meat that Freddie can handle, so you're safe.
Oh, well, good. By the way, Freddie stopped up to see me on his way to the farm this morning.
Oh, did he?
Uh-huh. In fact, he's the reason I'm here to see you this afternoon.
But what's the matter?
With Freddie, nothing. But, well, he's worried about you.
Why is he worried about me?
This job of yours with Mrs. Carlton.
Professor, that's nothing to worry about. It's a marvelous opportunity, and it pays well.
Yes, so I understand, but Freddie tells me you won't say what kind of a job it is.
I'm working for Mrs. Carlton. Isn't that saying enough?
It doesn't say what you do for her.
No, it doesn't.
Well, why can't you tell that?
Because Mrs. Carlton asked me not to.
Why?
Because she just doesn't want anyone to know what I'm doing for her, that's all.
I realize that, but isn't that a little strange? Isn't it more than unusual to have a job and not be able to describe it?
I could tell you what I'm doing for her if you think I don't know myself, but there are many reasons why it's better if you don't know.
What's one of those reasons?
The most important of all is that Mrs. Carlton doesn't want me to tell anyone.
Did you say why?
No, she didn't.
That seems very strange.
Well, I suppose it does, but I'm satisfied that she knows what she's doing, and she said that I'd see the reasons for secrecy, too, in a while.
Miss Gibbs, I can tell you from bitter experience, doing things in secret can lead to trouble.
I'm not expecting trouble working for Mrs. Carlton, Professor. In spite of her manner, in spite of everything you hear about her, Mrs. Carlton's a fine woman.
You've met her once, seen her once, and you've changed your opinion of her so completely?
I haven't changed my opinion of her. I never had one to change.
So she's a fine old woman, is she?
I think so. Underneath that hard crust of hers and her hasty and arrogant ways, I think she's just another mellow old woman who wants to do something besides sit in that great big house of hers and spend money on herself.
One meeting, and you're sure of that, are you?
Well, no, I'm not sure, but that's my impression.
Well, I hope you aren't being fooled. You've taken the job with her or told you to think about it?
No, I took the job.
Why? Don't you think that under the circumstances it might have been wiser to think it over?
Well, I wanted to, but Mrs. Carlton wouldn't have it that way. It was take the job then or not take it at all.
And you took it knowing it had to be kept secret?
Yes, I did.
Miss Gibbs, I know I have no right to be critical of anything you do. But believe me, it's only because I'm interested in you as a good friend
really,
that
Professor, you're making a great deal out of something that really isn't very important. The important thing is the job. Look, the fact that I can't tell you or anyone else what I'm doing really doesn't matter.
It matters a great deal. To us, Miss Gibbs. Freddie is, well, he's frankly worried, and to tell you the truth, so am I.
Well, I'm very flattered to know that either one of you cares about me that much, but really, there isn't a thing to worry about.
Isn't there?
No.
Remember how you felt about me when I first appeared in Rossville and you didn't know quite what I was up to?
Yes, I do, but that was different.
No, I don't think so. I said I was a professor at the university, which I was. But you were suspicious of me just the same, and you had a right to be, because I was also a federal agent.
And I hated you, didn't I?
Well, that's a mild way of putting it, Miss Gibbs. But that's not the point of my bringing this up. All Rossville was suspicious of me before long. I had a rather unpleasant 2 or 3 months. And all because I couldn't tell people what I was really doing. Miss Gibbs, you're going to have the same difficulties because of this job with Mrs. Carlton.
No, I don't think so. Only a few people will know I'm working for her.
But a few is too many. You know how news travels in this town, and Mrs. Carlton is not at all well liked. If you're working for her and won't say what you're doing, you'll find people turning against you, too.
Not the ones who count, Professor.
No, your closest friends will stick by you, but they'll wonder. You have Freddie and me wondering already. Oh, Miss Gibbs, perhaps you'd better not take this job with Miss Carlton.
I'm sorry, Professor Rogers, but I must
well,
take
then
it.
Don't take it then until you've thought about it a little while longer.
Look, I told you it was either take the job yesterday or not take it at all, so I took it. And I know there's nothing wrong with it. I'll find out one of these days why I can't tell you what I'm doing, and then I'll be able to rid you of any doubts you have.
Then you have doubts about the job yourself.
Well, not serious ones. I wouldn't take the job under the circumstances if I didn't need one so badly, and if it didn't pay so well. But I'm still sure that I'm never going to regret taking it.
Well, I hope not, Miss Gibbs. You certainly don't deserve to be unhappy because of anyone like Mrs. Carlton.
Professor Rogers, she's not what you think she is. I'm convinced that she's actually a very kind woman.
Perhaps she treated you kindly because she wanted you for this job, whatever it is.
Professor Rogers, you're not going to trick me into telling you what it is. I know your methods too well.
All right, Miss Gibbs. I won't try. Oh, look, the fire's dying down a little. Shall I put another log on it?
Come in.
Hello, Carrie.
Well, Madeline Dodge. Come in.
Certainly will. How are you this afternoon, Carrie?
A day older than I was yesterday afternoon. Therefore, 24 hours smarter than I was yesterday.
Oh, well, you be a terror if you live to be 100.
I'll be 100, Madeline. I'll outlive you by years. Sit down.
I'd rather stand if you don't mind.
I said sit down. Seeing people stand makes me nervous.
Oh, you tapped that ferocious cane of yours. I guess I'd better sit down. Oh, is that a new cane, Carrie?
It is not.
I thought perhaps maybe you broke a cane or two a week.
Only fools break things. You didn't come to see me for nothing. What do you want?
I don't want anything, Carrie. Mother wants you over for tea tomorrow afternoon.
Tell her I don't want to come.
I did tell her that. She said I should ask you anyway. Oh, why don't you come, Carrie? That foolish Adams girl is going to be there, and I'd love to hear you take her apart.
I don't get any pleasure out of taking apart something that isn't put together right in the first place. Besides, I despise teas. Tell your mother not to waste time inviting me anymore.
Oh, now, Carrie, does that mean you're not coming to see us again, ever?
Oh, I'll come to see you when I feel like it, and I won't need an invitation.
Oh, that's nice. My, but you're in very good spirits this afternoon, aren't you?
I am. And I don't like sarcasm, young lady. Don't use it around me.
Sorry?
Sorry. Don't be sorry. Just don't do things you'll be sorry for. You're as bad as that Gibbs girl.
Penny Gibbs? Well, how do you know her?
She was here to see me yesterday.
Here to see you, Carrie. Why?
Because I sent for her.
You sent for her? What for?
To give her a job. She's going to work for me.
Oh, Carrie, no. No, you don't want that Gibbs girl working for you. She just doesn't have...
She has what I want her to have. Looks, brains, and honesty.
Well, what are you going to use her for? Why do you need someone to work for you?
There are certain things I want to do before I get too old.
Such as what?
I'm afraid that will have to remain a secret.
Oh. Well, Carrie, you sound as if you're going to do a few things that are, that aren't quite right.
I'll be the judge of whether they're right or wrong.
Yes, of course. But, does Miss Gibbs have any idea of what you want her to do?
Not yet. But she'll do as I say.
And if there's trouble?
That's why I want Miss Gibbs to do these things for me. If there's trouble, it'll be hers, not mine. She's not to do things in my name.
Oh, I see. In other words, she gets the full blame.
Yes. You like that, don't you?
Very much.
I thought you would.
So what Penny is going to do for Carrie Carlton is going to lead to trouble, is it? Just what does Carrie want Penny to do? Is Penny walking into something that may ruin her life? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. Lady, did you know this? Did you know that Kroger quality beef is the best beef that's available on today's market? Yes, you can buy this beef with confidence that it will be deliciously tender and brimming with flavorful, rich juices. Get some and then wait until that family of yours comes home and the aroma of superbly cooked Kroger quality beef greets them. Just watch their faces light up. Just watch the glowy mood it puts them in. Yes, Kroger quality beef can make your dinner a meal that's sure to please every member of the family. So don't delay. Visit your Kroger store and get deliciously tender, juicy Kroger quality beef. And remember, Kroger quality beef is beef you can buy with confidence because it's the very best beef you can buy today. Get Kroger quality beef at your Kroger store soon. Now your local announcer.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, if you're planning to join the family for this holiday weekend, remember you have a friend who will keep you company through the long hours on the road. That friend is your car radio, and it brings you a full weekend of the most stimulating variety entertainment when you tune in to NBC's Monitor. Yes, you set your dial just once for hours and hours of refreshing variety. News as it happens, sports coverage, everything from baseball to skin diving, interviews with the stars. Plus, lots of the relaxing music you like to hear. It's all on Monitor this weekend. And now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight's story, A Pail of Air, by Fritz Leiber.
It was pretty quiet in the nest. Pa was just sitting by the fire, staring into it like he does these days. And Ma was asleep. That's why it was so quiet. Ma has some pretty bad times when she just screams and huddles back against the blankets that line the nest. Sis was looking at herself in the mirror that hangs next to the bookshelf. I don't know what she finds to look at so long, but then she's a girl. She just looks at herself. Saturdays, when Pa puts a couple of extra lumps of coal on the fire and we take a bath, she looks at herself in the mirror and sometimes she cries. I dropped the book I was reading, and I guess that woke Ma.
Huh? What? What?
Pick up the book, Bud.
I'm sorry, Pa.
It's come back. Hasn't it, Alfred? It's come back.
It was just Bud. He dropped his book.
Oh, but it's come back. It's out there now, isn't it? I feel a lot warmer.
No, Ethel.
It's up there in the sky. Just the way it always was. I know. I had a dream, Alfred.
I know, dear. Sis, melt your mother a cup of water.
I'm combing my hair.
Sis.
Oh, all right.
I've got to get up. I know it's there. There'll be crocuses. And the spring bulbs. And daffodils.
What are daffodils, Ma?
Well, Buddy, they're a flower. And they're very pretty. Yellow on a tall green stalk. Oh, I want to go out. I want to take the children out.
All right now, Ethel. Here's some water.
Come on, children. We'll all go out and you can play in the sun.
Sure, Ma.
Here, drink the water, Ma.
It's cold, Alfred. You rap on the pipes and make that super send up some more heat.
What's a super, Pa?
It doesn't matter, Bud. There aren't any anymore.
Oh.
Pa, the pail's running low.
Bud, you better get into your things and go out and get an extra pail of air.
There are a couple of pails behind the first blankets.
Go on, get into your things.
It isn't back, is it?
No, it isn't.
There's no sun in the sky. No sun, is there?
No, Ma. What was it like?
The sun.
Sis, don't get your Ma upset.
The sun was yellow. And so bright you couldn't look at it. Burning hot. So hot. But when you stretched out in it, it made you feel warm all over. Tingly warm. It's been so long since I've been that warm.
I was warm last year on my birthday when Pa put all that extra coal on.
And then every morning it would come out of the east, make the clouds all pink and yellow. And the mist would rise in the ground, and then slowly everything would glow warmer, warmer. And then it would be up there in the sky, shining, warm.
Hurry up, Bud.
I'm almost ready, Pa.
I want the sun. I want the sun back. Alfred, get me the sun.
It's gone, Ethel. There's nothing I can do.
For Christmas? On my birthday?
Go ahead, Bud. Take the big pail and get it full this time. There's no sense in taking the trip for only half a bucket of air.
I spilled it the last time.
It's dark, Alfred. It's dark.
Go ahead, Bud. Strap down the helmet, will you, sis?
For goodness sake, stand up straight.
Okay. All right, I'll be right back.
Don't hold the blankets open too long. All right, Ethel. We're all safe. Bud will be right back with another pail of air. It's all right.
I went through the 30 or so blankets that Pa hung up to slow down the air escaping from the nest. Of course, I knew the way. I'd been going out for air since I was a kid. Still, I get a funny, crawly feeling every time I go out of the nest. You gotta go up to the 5th floor, which is just above the blanket of frozen air. You see, when the earth got cold, all the water in the air froze first and made a blanket about 10 feet thick or so. And then down on top of that dropped all the crystals of frozen air, making another blanket 60 or 70 feet thick. I came out of the window we use on the 5th floor and started to scoop up the air into my pail. I had it about full. Boy, my fingers are getting pretty cold when I saw something. Hey, that's a light. Oh, darn it, I kicked over the bucket. Oh, there can't be a light. Not moving around in a window like that. There can't be. Mom, Pa, and Sis are back in the nest. I'm up here, and there can't be anyone else. Everybody on Earth is dead except us. I had an idea how Ma must feel sometimes, the way she sees things. But there it was, moving around in the building across the way. I stood there shaking, and I almost froze my feet. I did frost my helmet so solid on the inside I couldn't see anything. So I hurried up and scooped up another bucket of air and headed back for the nest as fast as I could. Pa, I saw something.
Go on, hang those outside clothes up by the fire.
Phew. Pa, I saw something. I did.
Mother's quiet now. Don't upset her.
Pa, it was a light.
Wait till I get this air next to the fire. Give me the cloth, sis.
Shall I put another lump of coal on, Pa?
No. The oxygen from this bucket will get the fire up when it begins to melt. There.
Pa, I'm trying to tell you, I saw something up there. Light.
There's lots of lights. Stars.
I know what stars look like, Dopey. They're big, steady white lights in the sky. This was down here in a building.
What is it? Alfred, what is it?
Nothing, Ethel. Now, what is this, Bud?
Well, first I thought it was a lady. A young lady. I mean it. Like in one of those old magazines. I thought I saw it in a window. But then all I saw was a light.
You watched it for some time, son?
Long enough for it to pass 5 windows and go to the next floor.
And it didn't look like stray electricity?
No, Pa, I know what that looks like.
Or a star refracted through an icicle? Sometimes if you catch it at the right angle, it...
Pa, honest, I never saw anything like it before.
All right. I'll go out with you and you show me.
No, Alfred. You can't go and leave us alone, not both of you.
It's all right. We'll be right back.
Here's your helmet, Pa.
There's something out there. Always known there was something out there waiting to get us.
Hand me my glove.
Something that's part of the cold. Hates all warmth. Wants to destroy the nest. Been watching us all this time. Now it's coming after us. And it'll get you. And then it'll come for me. Oh, don't go. Alfred, please don't go.
Everything will be all right. Now, sis.
Yes, Pa?
You come watch the fire. Keep an eye on that air, too. If it gets too low or doesn't seem to be boiling fast enough, get another bucket behind the blanket.
Alfred, don't go.
I'll take care of it, Pa. Could there really be anybody out there?
I don't see how. We heard the last radio voices a year before Bud was born. There hasn't been anything since then.
Then what could it be?
I don't know. Probably just a reflection. An ice crystal cracking. Come on, Bud. Get your helmet on.
It's funny. When I go out alone, I'm not scared or anything. But when I go out with Pa, I always hang on to his belt like I used to when I was a little kid. habit, I guess. It's the same no matter what trip we take. On the 5th floor, we stopped to rest just before we went out. We were in the room with the frozen people. The lady sitting looking at the door. The man holding his hands over that funny metal thing Pa calls a radiator. It was like a fire, I guess, but I don't see any place for the cold. We put our helmets together so we could talk.
Catch your breath, son.
Pa, would it be possible... for any of the frozen people to come to life? Like the ones down in the basement around the furnace when we go for water?
No, they're dead. They were caught too quickly when it happened.
Oh, Pa, how do we know we're the only ones?
We don't, but... Well, there's a feeling you get. Because it's always night. There used to be some of that feeling every night in the old days. But the sun chased it away every morning. You wouldn't know about that. You weren't born when the dark star pulled us away from the sun. You wouldn't know unless you'd seen the sun.
I've seen the sun. It's that big star at the end of the Big Dipper. I've seen it.
It isn't the same. Come on. We're wasting time.
I don't know what the city looked like in the old days, but now it's beautiful. The starlight lets you see it pretty well. We're up on a hill, and the plain slopes down away from us. Some taller buildings push up out of the feathery plain, topped by rounded caps of air crystals. Some of them are on a slant because a lot of the buildings are badly twisted by the quakes and everything when a dark star pulled the earth away from the sun. That's why Pa can't seal up the nest airtight. The building's twisted too bad. Besides, we have to keep the chimney open. We touched our helmets together so we could talk.
Is that where you saw it, son?
It isn't there anymore.
Uh-huh.
But it feels different. As if there's something out here, waiting.
Bud, if you see something like that again, don't tell the others.
Huh? Why not?
Well, your ma's sort of nervous these days, and we owe her all the feeling of safety we can give her. Once, it was when your sister was born, I was ready to give up and die, but your mother kept me trying. Another time, she kept the fire going a whole week all by herself when I was sick.
She couldn't do that now. Not the way she is.
But you know that game we sometimes play, tossing a ball around? Well, courage is like a ball. A person can hold it only so long, and then he's got to toss it to someone else. When it's tossed your way, you've got to catch it and hold it tight, and hope there'll be someone else to toss it to when you get tired of being brave.
Yeah, I guess so.
Come on. We'll fill up the pails and get back.
But what about whatever it is out here?
We'll just have to wait and see. Come on. Before the helmets frost over.
It's pretty hard to hide your feelings in the nest. There's just room for the four of us. The blanket overhead just touches when Pa stands up straight. The floor is all covered with thick, woolly rugs. Pa says it's inside a much bigger room, but I've never seen the real walls or ceiling. Well, anyway, Pa laughed and kidded about what I'd seen. He said I had an imagination, but we could tell he took it serious. It was Sunday morning by the clocks that Pa kept all wound up on a shelf. So it was time for the story. We all sat around in a circle the way we always do. Except I noticed that Pa casually took a hammer from the shelf and put it beside him. I always liked the story. Of course, Sis and I know it by heart by now. Every Sunday since we were kids. But every once in a while, Pa surprises us by telling it a little different. Or throwing in some extras. It starts out with a song. Ma used to sing it, but she forgets the words sometimes. And now Pa sings it mostly.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, thy purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain.
Of course, the words don't mean anything. The skies are spacious enough. But there aren't any waves of grain, and the plain is all covered with a blanket of frozen air. But it's part of the story ceremony, and Pa likes it. He says it reminds him of the old days. After the song, Pa starts the story.
In the days of my youth, the sun hung above, golden and warm, and the earth was fruitful and multiplied, and the fields were green, and the day was glorious, and the wind blew across the hilltops, and the air was free and good to breathe.
That's the part of the story I like best, about how it was with the sun nice and warm. It's hard to believe, all those people living without having to worry about cold and air, never waking up sweating and screaming because you dreamed the fire went out. It's impossible to believe, but Pa was a good storyteller, and he made it seem real.
And then the dark star came rushing out of space. In the beginning, they tried to keep the news from the people, but when the floods and the earthquakes started, the truth came out. At first, they thought the dark star would hit the sun, and then they were afraid it would strike the earth itself. But it didn't. It only came close.
Pa tells it like the sun and the dark star fought for the earth like two dogs over a bone. I know what he means because I've seen a picture of a dog in a magazine. And then the dark star won and carried us off. But the sun kept the moon. There were earthquakes and floods. Pa says that mountains fell and oceans slopped over. Oceans, that's a lot of melted water lying around loose. It's hard to imagine. Pa says it was so. Then came the open question time in the story. Sis asked a question about what girls wore for clothes. And I asked Pa how people acted in those days when the earth was twisted and jerked almost apart.
Well, Bud, I was too busy to notice much. A friend of mine, Dr. Weisbrot, and Kelly, the geophysicist, and Walters, the astronomer, we knew what was going to happen. And we were working to fix up a place with airtight walls and insulation and big supplies of food and bottled air. But the place got smashed up in the earthquakes, and they were all killed. So I put the nest together at the last minute in the living room of our apartment. It's a 4-room apartment.
You must have seen some of the people, like the frozen ones downstairs.
At that time, Bud, I only thought of one thing. Your mother and survival. If I had stopped to think, I wouldn't have even tried to make the nest. It would have seemed ridiculous. Blankets and a coal fire against the cold and vacuum of space. But I didn't think. I survived.
I wasn't listening carefully as Pa went on about the building of the nest. I kept thinking about something else. About that light I'd seen outside. I kept asking myself, what if the frozen people were coming to life? What if they were like the liquid helium that crawls toward heat when it should be frozen solid? What if something were coming from the dark star to get us? Something making the frozen people move, not by themselves. That would fit with what I'd seen. A young lady's face and the moving light. I sat there and shivered, thinking of the frozen people with minds from the dark star creeping, crawling, snuffing their way, following the heat to the nest. And then, over from beyond the blankets, I thought I heard a tiny noise.
So I asked myself then, what's the use of going on? Why prolong a doomed existence of hard work and cold and loneliness? The human race is done. The earth is done. Why not give up, I asked myself.
And then I did hear the noise, louder this time, a kind of shuffling tread coming closer.
And then I got the answer. The Earth's always been a lonely place millions of miles from the next planet. And no matter how long the human race might have lived, the end would have come some night. Those things don't matter. What matters is that life is good. There's a lovely texture, like some rich cloth or fur, or the petals of flowers. Crocuses, daffodils, or the fire's glow. And that's as true for the last man as the first.
Still, those steps kept shuffling closer. Pa was talking, and Ma was dreaming with her eyes closed, and Sis was looking at herself sideways in the mirror. And I was the only one who heard the noise. A noise outside.
So right then and there I told myself that I was going on as if we had all eternity ahead of us. I'd have children, and I'd teach them all I could. I'd get them to read books, try to enlarge and seal the nest. I'd try to keep everything beautiful and alive. I'd keep alive my feeling of wonder, even at the cold and the dark and the distant stars.
Pa, I know.
What is it, Alfred? What is it? What's going on? Oh, you've got to tell me.
Pa, I'm scared.
Quiet. What? You heard it?
Uh-huh. Kind of shuffling. Coming toward the nest.
Oh.
Sis, take care of your mother.
It's all right, Ma. Lie down. Come on.
I'll take the hammer. You take the hatchet.
What is it, Pa? What is it?
I don't know. Listen.
It's closer.
Mush.
Pa, the blanket is moving. Ready with your axe.
Hello? Who's there? Is there somebody in there?
Come in. It's all right.
They're alive. Alive.
Who are you?
Alfred Hutchinson. Dr. Alfred Hutchinson. You can take off your helmets in here.
But the air.
We have air.
We bring it in pails.
Come on, Ralph. Let's take off the helmets.
It's impossible.
Well, where are you from? We thought we were the only ones.
Los Alamos.
The nuclear laboratory.
Yes, that's right. We get our power from the reactor, using the stockpile of bombs for fuel.
Then there are others. There are other men. There are other men.
Pa, is it all right? Should I put the axe down?
Yes, it's all right. You can put it down.
You mean you come from another nest?
It's a little bigger than this. We've got a small airtight city with airlocks.
We generate our electricity, food from hydroponics.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe this. It's impossible. You can't maintain an air supply without hermetic sealing. It's impossible.
Oh, no, it's simple. As long as you keep the fire going to melt the air, and enough air boiling to keep the fire burning.
How did you come here? Why?
Well, we keep scouting around for survivors. There are a number of colonies, Brookhaven, Oak Ridge, and Harwell in England, and the Argonne Laboratory in France. We didn't expect to find anything in this city, though. But our detectors picked up a heat trace, so we tracked it down.
Alfred, you're forgetting your manners. We have company.
Of course. Sis, throw a handful of coal on the fire.
Pa, a whole handful?
Doesn't matter now. And Bud, bring out another pail of air.
Oh, it's incredible.
And you have laboratories and transport?
We only have a two-seater Scout, but if we rip out the bulkhead to the storage compartment, we can make it all right.
We can have you back at Los Alamos in 4 hours.
What's the matter?
I guess we really hadn't thought about it that way.
But, I wouldn't know how to act there. And besides, I haven't any clothes.
Just doesn't seem right to let this fire go out. It's been 18 years. Burning every minute.
But you can't stay here.
Ralph.
But after all...
Ralph.
Oh. Look, Dr. Hutchinson, we'll go out to the ship and bring back a small power heater. I know this is very sudden and upsetting to you. You need a chance to adjust. We'll be back in a few minutes. It's incredible. In buckets, air in buckets.
Well,
didn't think the nest smelled so good. I could tell.
She had a wave in her hair. Did you see that? And lipstick.
I suppose we have to decide what to do.
Pa, at Los Alamos and those other places, there'll be lots of people, won't there?
Yes,
I mean, not just your father or a brother.
that's right.
Boys?
I suppose so. But somehow I feel a little empty.
Alfred, it's different now that we know others are alive. You don't have to feel the responsibility for keeping the human race going.
Pa, I'd like to see those rockets and laboratories. Wouldn't you, Pa?
I suppose so.
It won't be easy leaving the nest. I mean, it's just right, and there's only 4 of us. It's kind of a scary idea. Big place with a lot of strangers.
You'll get over that feeling, son. The trouble with the world was that it kept getting smaller and smaller till it ended with just the nest. Now it'll be good to have a real, huge world again. The way it was in the beginning.
And so, we're going to leave the nest in the morning. By Pa's clocks. We've got the power heater going now. Seems funny to be this warm when it isn't Christmas or somebody's birthday. But still, it's hard for me to realize that this is the last time I'll go out of the nest, through all the blankets, to get a pail of air.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was an NBC Radio Network production.
Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X-1.
Tonight, Clifford D. Simak's story of the 21st century, How To.
Build your own 3-dimensional color TV set. Complete kit, screwdriver assembly in 3 hours. Nah, I've done that. Well, let's see. A dog is man's best friend. Build your own dog. Complete kit, spaniel model, only $250. Yeah, hey, that's it. My next project.
Gordon, is that you?
Yeah, yeah. Where are you?
Out on the terrace. I'm just finishing a landscape.
Oh, hi, yeah. Grace, look, did it come?
Now, don't kiss me. You'll get all full of paint.
I wasn't going to. Where is the package?
Well, they set it against the side of the house. Over there, see?
Oh, it came, huh? I want to look at it.
I would have put it down in the basement, but I couldn't lift it.
Hey, this is pretty heavy for a spaniel. I can't lift this myself.
Well, I'll start dinner as soon as I finish this part of the picture. I want to get the grass while the light's right.
Yes, all right. So no hurry. I want to examine the kid anyhow.
Of course, if you didn't waste our money on things like dog kits, maybe we could afford a robot, and I wouldn't have to cook.
Yeah, all right.
There. That should be enough for now. The light's beginning to get tricky. Good night. You're not going to open that thing here on the terrace. Now, you make a mess.
I just want to see the parts. You know, this thing's too big and heavy to be a dog kit.
Maybe it's a Great Dane.
No, it can't be. Look, here's the shipping tag.
From How To Kits, Inc. to Gordon Knight. One dog kit, spaniel model, $250, paid in full.
The Great Dane cost $350.
Well, all I can say is that must be the world's biggest spaniel.
Hey, you know, that's darn funny.
I told you I don't want you fooling around with it up here. Now take it down in
Grace,
the basement.
this can't be a dog kit. You know what I think? It's a robot.
A robot? But you didn't order a robot. What did you?
No, certainly not. They made a shipping error. That's about the size of it. Ah, doggone it. I'll have to put this crate back together again and call the express company.
Are you going to return it?
Well, certainly I'm going to return it. You don't think we can keep it, do you?
Well, why not? The tag says paid in full, so they can't say we owe them anything.
But it's a robot. They're expensive.
Well, I don't see how the company will ever know. When inventory time comes around, they'll be short one robot and long one dog.
Of course, I've always wanted to put together a real robot. Lord knows when I'd get another chance.
Then it's settled.
No, it is not settled either. I tell you what, I'll put it together just to see what it's like. But I won't activate it, see? I mean, I'll disassemble it right away and ship it back to the company. Well, there we are. Grace, look at it. Isn't that a beauty, though?
You finished?
Well, all but the activating. Oh. Grace.
What?
You know, I was just thinking, how do I know I've got all the parts adjusted properly?
I haven't the remotest idea.
No, the only sure way would be to test it.
You mean activate?
Well, only for a minute or two, you understand? I mean, just to be sure.
Then what?
Well, then I'll disassemble it, naturally.
Well, all right. As long as you don't take too long.
No. I'll have it in a jiffy. Now, here, look. Oh, see, all I have to do is just put on the activating plate. And turn this lock nut. See, like so. Now, wait a minute. Just adjust the automatic current control. Yeah, there. Now, that should do it. Now, stand back. Now, I'll turn it on.
I hope it works.
Oh, it'll work. I followed the directions to the letter. You ready? Now.
It works!
Yeah, I'll have to oil that joint. Wait. Grace, it's moving its head.
My name is Albert. I am a robot. What is there to do?
Well, it certainly has a nice voice.
Now, take it easy, Albert. Just sit down and rest, and we'll have a little talk.
There's no need to rest. I was made to work.
Well, as long as it doesn't need to rest, I can think of 100 things for it to do. Now, there's the house and the garden and the lawn.
No, look, Grace.
I wonder if he could learn to cook.
A robot can be taught to do anything a person can do.
Oh.
No, hold on a minute, Albert, please, and listen to me. We can't keep you understand. I mean, you were sent here by mistake. But, I mean, as long as you're activated, there wouldn't be any harm in letting you do a few things.
I can do anything.
Good. The whole house needs a thorough cleaning.
Grace.
Then, of course, I'd like some new drapes for the study.
No.
And the kitchen hasn't been painted for 4 years. Then there's that leaky faucet.
Oh, Lord.
Well, what's the matter?
Attachments. There aren't any. Well, he can't do all that stuff without attachments. And they cost almost as much as the robot itself.
Don't worry about attachments. Just tell me what's to be done.
Well, you heard my wife.
Oh, what about your grounds?
Oh, I got 100 beat-up acres that need attention, but of course I realize that that's too much work, huh?
Don't worry about a thing. I can fix it for you. I will make the necessary equipment.
Make your own attachment?
Don't worry about a thing.
Yeah, but how?
Oh, for heaven's sake, stop arguing with him and let him get to work.
I'm not arguing.
Your coffee's ready.
Yeah.
How'd you sleep, dear?
Oh, not so good. Kept hearing noises all night.
Oh, that was Albert working in the basement.
Yeah. Albert? Hey, gosh, that's right. I forgot robots don't sleep.
He was working all night. When I came into the kitchen just now, I found the breakfast all prepared. He can cook. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. What's he doing now?
Oh, I don't know. Making something, I think. Oh, Gordon, he's going to be such a tremendous help to me. I'll be able to spend more time than ever with my painting.
Now, wait a minute. What makes you think we can keep him? I mean, no, Grace. I mean, we could get into trouble.
Well, I don't see how. I'll tell you what. Why don't you walk over and call on Anson Lee? He could advise you.
What does he know about it?
He's a lawyer.
Well, technically, he's a lawyer. I mean, he never seems to work at it anymore.
Well, you have to understand Anson, that's all.
Look, I understand him all right. He's a reactionary, a throwback to the 20th century. Spends all his time lying in a hammock, drinking and reading Proust.
Well, it's what he enjoys doing.
I'll bet that guy never assembled a kit in his life. Can you imagine that?
Well, we all have our peculiarities. Just the same, he could give you legal advice.
Well, all right. I'll go over after breakfast if it'll make you feel any happier. Pass the cream.
I'll have a drink, Knight. Hard cider. Made it myself.
Thought you didn't go in for home projects, Lee.
Oh, I don't. Making this cider was the first honest work I've done in years.
I don't doubt it.
Every time I get a yen to work, I look across at your place and I decide against it. How many rooms have you added to that house since you got it built?
8.
Good Lord. Think of that. 8 rooms.
No. It's not hard once you get the knack. It's kind of fun. You just buy a how-to kit.
Sure, I know. Just follow directions.
That's right.
Anybody can build a robot on a kitchen table. Well, no thanks.
Why do you say that?
What?
I mean about building a robot.
Oh, I don't know. I suppose I expect you to start building one any time now. You've done everything else. What's got into people these days, Knight? They just aren't equipped to enjoy their leisure. That is, most of them aren't. Me? I am. I read, and I lie in a hammock, and now and again I even think.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess that makes me an eccentric. Here, have another drink.
Oh, no, thanks. I'll have to get back to my place. Albert.
You call me, sir?
Yeah, Albert, listen to me. Albert, I have reached a decision about you.
But I'm not Albert, sir.
Huh?
You would hardly expect Albert to be clipping hedges.
Well, if you're not Albert, who are you?
Abe. Albert is down in the basement.
Well, what are you doing here? Where did you come from?
If you wish to talk to me, you will have to move along the hedge with me.
Oh.
I cannot stop working.
Oh, okay, move along. But where did you come from?
Albert made me.
Albert made you?
And now he's down in the basement working on Alfred.
Alfred? Another robot?
Certainly. That is what Albert is for. He makes robots.
Oh, no. Albert.
Oh, there you are.
Albert, what's going on here?
I'm reproducing.
What?
I have a built-in mother urge. I don't know why they named me Albert. I should have had a female name.
Oh, but you shouldn't be able to make robots.
Look, boss, you worry a lot. You want robots, don't you?
Well, yeah, I guess everybody could use a robot.
I make robots. I'm making all you need.
Albert, put down that head and listen to me. I want to have a serious talk.
Sure, boss. What's on your mind?
Now, Albert, I just looked through your packing case and I found this tag. Look, it says X, 190. X, Albert. Don't you understand? That means you're an experimental model.
That's correct.
You were never meant to be sold.
That is also correct.
I know. Don't you see? That means trouble. I can't keep you.
I've already taken care of that.
How do you mean?
I filed off my serial number and replated the surface.
Well, why did you do that?
So that they can't come around and take me back. They made me, and then they got scared and shut me off. But you're not afraid of me.
I'm
You
not.
assembled me and let me go to work.
Yep.
I'm sticking with you, boss.
Wait a minute. This could mean a lot of trouble for me, Albert.
No trouble. They can't prove a thing. I'll swear that you made me. I'll not let them take me back. They will take no chances next time. They'll break me up for scrap.
Oh, but look, if you make too many robots...
Robots are useful. You need a lot of them in this place. Now, don't worry, boss. Everything will work out.
Well...
I'll take good care of you.
Yeah.
Now, I must go back to work. Adalbert is nearly finished.
Mr. Knight, I'm from the county tax office. Tax assessor.
Oh, I didn't know you fellas came around more than once a year.
Ordinarily, we don't. This is a special case.
Oh?
Made a lot of improvements in the place the past few days. Oh. Landscaping, painting, building.
Well...
Afraid I'll have to boost your assessment some.
I see.
Heard about those robots of yours, too.
Robots?
Personal property, you know. Have to pay a tax on them. Just, how many have you got?
Oh, one or two.
I've been counting. They move around so fast I can't be sure, but I estimate the number at 38. That right?
If you say so.
38 it is, then. They cost $10,000 apiece. I'll assess them at 5. That's $190,000.
Oh, no, hey, that's pretty steep.
But I'm going easy on you. By rights, I should only allow you a third for depreciation. Well, that's it, Mr. Knight. $190,000.
Wait.
We'll send you the bill with your quarterly statement.
But...
Good day.
Good day. Albert, look, I've been holding off until we got the new landscaping job under control, but I can't hold off any longer. I mean, we got to start selling some of the robots.
Selling?
Yeah, 20 of them. That should do for a start. The tax assessor was here. I need the cash.
You can't sell the robots, boss.
Why can't I?
Because they're my family, my boys. Named after me, all of them.
Albert, I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous.
They're all I've got, boss. You wouldn't sell your own children, would you?
Well...
All their names start with A, just like mine. Abe, Adalbert, Alfred, Adam, Aaron, Anton, Axel.
All right. Don't go through the whole roll call. I mean, the point is I need the money.
Don't you worry, boss. I'll fix everything. You have nothing to worry about.
The point is, Mr. Knight, the Internal Revenue Department is always interested when a citizen shows a substantial capital gain during the year.
Capital gain? I haven't made any capital gain.
Oh, come, sir. I'm talking about the matter of some 52 robots. Well, as I understand it, their retail value is $10,000 each.
So they say.
52 times 10,000 is $520,000. On capital gains, you pay 50% or $260,000.
200, oh.
A tax, roughly, of $130,000.
What do I do?
By the 15th of next month, you must file a declaration of estimated income. You pay half of the due tax at that time, and the balance in monthly installments. And there's one other matter.
One other matter?
We investigated. We found you make $10,000 a year.
Huh?
Would you tell me, out of personal curiosity, understand?
I understand.
Just how a man of your particular means could show a capital gain of $500,000 in so short a time?
I'm beginning to wonder myself.
Well, our only concern is you pay your tax.
Yeah.
However, some other branch of the federal government might very well want to ask some questions sometime.
Oh?
If I were you, Mr. Knight, I would be ready with some answers.
Yeah.
Good day.
Good day. Albert, now look, I tell you, this is a crisis. Do you understand it? Like it or not, I have got to sell some of your boys, a whole bunch of them.
Boss, I told you not to worry.
Not to worry. Listen, I just came from the income tax people. I owe the government a cool $130,000, and those boys don't fool around. I'm desperate.
Money is no trouble, boss. Come here.
Come where?
Over here. Look at this.
What's this? What, those bales? What have they got? Don't tell me.
Full of money, boss. Help yourself.
You mean the actual, real money in those bales? Not stage money now.
Real money, boss. No ones, of course, but lots of 10s and 20s.
Yeah.
That bale over there is full of 50s.
Full of 50s.
We didn't fool around with the ones.
Albert, look me in the eye. Did you make that money?
You said you needed it. We took some bills and analyzed the ink. I found out how to weave the paper and made plates. I hate sounding modest, boss, but they're beautiful.
Oh, my gosh, I'm a counterfeiter, too.
We just ran off as much as we thought you'd need.
Yeah.
If it's not enough, we'll make some more.
It's enough. Not another dollar.
Well, you're the boss.
Albert, listen to me. There are laws in this country. I mean, you just can't go out and print money. That's a crime, don't you understand? Now, look, you take it all outside and burn it right up. You understand? And don't print any more. That is an order.
Gordon, are you down here?
I'm busy.
I hate to disturb you, dear, but I thought you ought to know about the sheriff.
I don't want to know the sheriff.
He was here with a subpoena, or whatever you call them.
That's what you call him.
Seems the how-to company's going to sue us.
Oh, no. Oh, no, all right. That does it. That
Gordon,
does it.
Where are you going?
To see my lawyer.
Offhand, old man, I'd say you were in quite a jam.
I didn't have to walk all the way over here to find that out. The point is, Lee, what in the name of heaven can I do?
Well, first, you'll have to file a declaration of estimated income.
Even if I can't pay?
Well, especially if you can't pay.
Oh.
Technically, then, you haven't violated the law, and all they can do is to try to collect what you owe.
Yeah.
They'll probably slap an attachment on your bank account.
What bank account? I'm broke.
Oh. Well, then I'd say your major worry is the how-to company suit.
Yeah.
Now, if I were you, I'd settle it out of court.
Out of court?
Mm-hmm. They might call off the action if you returned all the robots.
Albert says he'll testify that I made him.
Well, Albert can't testify. As a robot, he has no standing in court.
Mm-hmm.
No, you better give them back and get what terms you can.
No. I won't do it.
Huh?
I won't. Don't you see? They don't want Albert back because they can use him. They want to break him up to maintain their robot prices. Don't you see? It might be 1,000 years before his principle is rediscovered, if it ever is.
Mm-hmm. Would that be bad?
I don't know. Only time will tell that, but, I mean, you could say the same thing about any great invention. Look, no, I will not let them destroy Albert.
Yes, I see your point, Knight. And I like it.
You like it?
Uh-huh. I'll take the case. Now, of course, I ought to warn you, I'm not a very good lawyer.
I know.
I don't work hard enough at it.
But I do have a chance, huh?
In all my practice at law, Knight, I never saw a man who'd gotten himself as fouled up as this.
No.
I'd say your chances are nil.
Yeah.
Boss?
It's Albert.
Boss, I heard about the suit.
Yeah, it's all right, Albert. Mr. Lee here is going to handle our case.
We robots want to help.
I'm afraid there's not much you can do.
Oh, yes, there is. I'm building a lawyer robot.
He's building a lawyer robot.
With far greater memory capacity than any human. And with brain computers that operate on logic. That's what law is based on, isn't it? Logic.
Well, so I've heard. But it won't work, Albert. To practice law, you must be admitted to the bar. To be admitted to the bar, you must have a degree in law and pass an examination. And although there's never been an occasion to establish a precedent, I suspect the applicant must be human.
Lee, wait a minute. What about law clerks? I mean, they don't have to be human.
Well, I'd say that was completely true.
Yeah, then Albert's robots can be clerks.
Mm-hmm. Well, could be.
See what I mean?
Yes. It's never been done, but there's nothing in the law that says it can't be done.
Then it's settled. I'll make a dozen to start. Each one will be an expert in one phase of the law. Boss, you're going to have the most powerful battery of legal talent ever assembled under one roof.
Quiet in the court. Mr. Lee, what is the meaning of this outrage?
What outrage, Your Honor?
Those robots sitting at the defense table.
These, Your Honor, are my valued assistants.
Robots?
Yes, Your Honor.
Take them away. They have no standing in this court.
If Your Honor will excuse me, they need no standing. I am the sole representative of the defendant. My client is a poor man, and he is opposed by the most formidable array of legal talent money can buy. Now, surely the court will not deny him whatever assistance he's been able to muster.
This, sir, is highly irregular.
If it please Your Honor, I should like to point out that we live in a mechanized age. The court clerk uses a machine to take down the transcript of these very proceedings. To my certain knowledge, no court has ever challenged the presence of such a device as an aid to the furtherance of justice. Now, if Your Honor can point out anything in the law specifically barring these robots from the court...
That's ridiculous, sir. Of course there is no such provision. At no time anywhere did anyone dream such a contingency would arise.
In that case, sir, I ask the court for a favorable ruling.
Mr. Lee, as you point out, there is no precedent for my ruling in any way but in your favor. Therefore, sir, with reluctance, I do so at this time.
And what kind of a day has it been? It's a day in which a new kind of trial has suddenly captured the imagination of the public. A trial in which a man accused of misappropriating a robot has brought into court a whole battery of robots to aid in his defense.
To give validity to their argument, Your Honor, it must first be proved that these robots are, in fact, the property of the plaintiff. That is the issue at trial in this case.
So, in the now famous robot case, the issue has come down to this. Was the robot stolen or was he liberated? It is a far-reaching question indeed.
Your Honor, I have already established that robots are possessed of free will, that they have the power of reasoning, and that they can most certainly reproduce. As to my worthy opponent's fourth contention, that they have no spiritual sense, I contend that this is irrelevant. There are agnostics and atheists in the human race, and in general, no one has denied them their full rights on this count.
And so the trial has at last come to its end. The whole nation, indeed the whole world, awaits the momentous decision which must be handed down. In Washington, D.C., Treasury officials have been meeting steadily for a week to find some way to avoid the loss of the enormous taxes on robots in the event the decision rendered is in favor of the defense. One high government official has said that if robots are declared free and equal, it means they must be given full citizen rights under the Constitution. Already, the chairmen of both major political parties are mapping campaigns to corner the robot vote.
Welcome home, darling.
Yeah, thank you. But what's going on here, Grace? I have more trouble getting into my own home than into the Pentagon.
Oh, you mean the robots? They've set up a defense perimeter.
A defense...
Uh-huh.
Albert.
Hello, boss. Welcome home.
Albert, what is the meaning of all the barbed wire and the rocket launchers?
Just precautions, boss. We're ready for any situation.
Such as?
Oh, like a mob deciding to take justice into its own hands, for instance.
Or if the decision goes against us?
That too, boss.
Dear, you two go on and talk. I've really got to get back to my painting. I have a beautiful still life that I simply got to finish.
Yeah, I finished. Albert, listen. You can't fight the whole world.
We won't go back. How Two Kits Incorporated will never lay a hand on me or any of my children.
Albert, this is madness, don't you understand? They'd get you with one bomb. And me, too.
Better to die fighting, boss, than to live in chains.
I don't know.
That's our motto. No matter what happens, we're ready for the decision.
The court is ready to render its decision. It is the most difficult decision I have ever made, for in following the letter of the law, I fear I may be subverting its spirit. After long days of earnest consideration of both the law and the evidence as presented in this court, I find for the defendant, Gordon Knight. I cannot rule otherwise. May I add that this ruling, in spite of the fact that I myself made it, outrages my social conscience.
You did it, boss. You did it. We're free.
Yes, Albert. We sure did it. Where's my wife?
In the studio, painting.
Not another landscape.
Her fifth this week. She's doing very well.
Yes, isn't she?
And I am working on a new robot for her. A painter. Soon she won't have to bother doing it herself.
That's nice.
And you won't have to do anything anymore either, boss.
Oh?
Not a thing.
Oh?
We're going to take care of you from here on out.
Thanks.
Did I tell you about my new children yet?
No, I don't think so.
Alice, Angeline, Agnes, Agatha, Alberta, and Abigail.
Daughters?
6 of them, boss. And all with a built-in reproducing instinct just like mine.
Oh, no.
They're down in the basement now turning out robots.
Great.
We've got everything worked out for you, boss. You won't have to worry about a thing for the rest of your life.
No, Albert. Not a thing.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Name Your Symptom by Jim Harmon, a story of a future in which anyone who shunned a cure needed to have his head examined, assuming he still had one left. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you How To, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Clifford D. Simak and adapted for radio by William Welch. Featured in the cast were Alan Bunce, Ann Seymour, Les Damon, Joseph Bell, James Monks, William Key, Lawson Zerby, Santos Ortega, and Ben Brower. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Hear politics and primaries, Dateline, Illinois, and Wisconsin, tonight on NBC Radio.
When the Gregory yacht sailed for the South Pacific, the members of the expedition hoped they would find a strange island and a little lost girl, and return the little girl to her mother. All this has been done. But now, when the yacht should be sailing gaily home with a happy party on board, it is tied up, helpless, at one of the piers on the island of Euclidia, the magic island of the South Seas. Mrs. Gregory, her daughter Joan, Jerry Hall, and Captain Tex Bradford are in Mrs. Gregory's cabin on the yacht, discussing the failure of their attempt to outwit G-47, the mad scientist.
Why, Tex, if this thing is just as you describe it, we're actually prisoners. Worse than prisoners. For now we haven't even a chance of rescue from the outside world.
I'm afraid that's about the size of it, Pat.
Oh, Mother, it's almost too much, isn't it? Just a few hours after we have found each other, and we're making such happy plans to go back to your world. Then to have it all taken away from us again.
Oh, cheer up, Cleostra. Gee, how I hate that name.
My name is Joan now, Jerry, and no one need ever call me Cleostra again.
That old G-47 keeps right on calling you Cleostra.
I think G-47 will go right on doing a number of things we'll be powerless to prevent.
It looks bad now, Patricia, but there's always a way out of everything if you try hard enough.
I sure can't see any way out of this. Gee, and I thought that message to Johnson would get us rescued right away.
How did the plan fail, Tex? Have they done something to the radio that we can't communicate with Johnson?
No, the radio is all right. Jerry talked to Johnson, and Johnson repeated the message back. That part of it was all right. The G-47 also heard the message, and he knows that I've instructed Johnson not to move in our rescue without orders from me. And unless we can find some other method of communication, those orders will never get to Johnson.
But why, Tex? Why did you send Johnson such orders? Isn't there some way he could rescue us?
That's what I couldn't figure out, Mrs. Gregory.
I'm almost sure that it would be impossible to rescue anyone from this island. It would only mean the lives of everybody who tried it.
You are right, Captain Bradford. They have weapons so terrible here that a big battleship just melts away and sinks within a few minutes. And without a chance to fire a shot, its guns and engines all powerless.
Joan, my daughter, you've just heard these men talking about what they think they can do, of course. Nothing like that has actually happened.
I have seen it with my own eyes. A fine battleship sinking in 10 minutes. Everyone on board lost. And the only weapon used by the Euclideans was one of their larger ray guns, looking very much like one of your telescopes. Oh, Mother, even now you do not realize the awful power of things on this island.
Golly whiskers. Gee, that sounds like the real thing, Tex.
It is the real thing, Jerry. That's why I'm so hopeless about it all.
Why, Tex, I've never seen you act like this before. You can't mean you're giving up, that there's no possible way to get off this island?
No, I haven't given up. But there's no hope in any of the ordinary ways of doing these things. We've got to hit on some way of getting information to Johnson. Then he will have a chance to rescue us.
What's that information, Captain?
I'd rather not tell you, Jerry. At least not just now. It might be too unpleasant for you if G-47 found out you knew the only ray of hope there is. It will take time. Days, weeks, maybe months. And until then, I want to keep that to myself.
Then let's hope that guy never finds out how to read what you're thinking about.
I suggest that we try to forget all this for a few minutes and act like human beings. Come and sit by me, Joan. I can hardly realize that after 14 long years we're really together.
Gee whiz. Look at that, Captain.
At what, Jerry?
At Joan and Mrs. Gregory. They look just alike, don't they?
They sure do, son. And especially since Joan has a dress of her mother's own.
I said that Joan would be pretty. Almost as pretty as you are, Mrs. Gregory. And she is, too.
You're a sweet boy, Jerry. You've been good company for us on this trip. Aren't you glad we brought him, Tex?
Yeah, as far as he's concerned. But I'm sorry to get anybody into this. Your dad'll be plenty worried about you, Jerry.
Oh, no, he won't. He knows I'm with you.
Well, right now, being with me is the poorest protection I can think of.
Now, Tex, dear, don't start that again. We're all in this together because of Joan and me, and we'll all get out of it together. Don't worry any more about it. Please, dear.
Mother, when you talk to the captain like that, you look at him so soft and different, and your eyes are so large and beautiful, and now your cheek is turning red. Mother, why does Captain Bradford look so uncomfortable?
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
What is the matter with you, Jerry?
Oh, nothing.
Jerry, you mustn't do that.
I'm sorry.
Mother, is Jerry not feeling well? Why should he laugh when he says he is sorry?
Joan, you're a very scientific young lady, and your knowledge is way beyond your years. But, well, the reason Jerry was laughing is...
Yes, Tex. What is the reason?
Look, Joan, what would you think if I called you dear?
I should think it was very silly. My name is Joan.
Yes, but look.
Give it up, Jerry. Never mind, Joan. We're not making fun of you. It's just one of those things you'll understand when we get back to the world. Back to the world.
Now, there you go again, Tex. If you can't just sit still and talk about something pleasant, then for heaven's sake do something, anything, to occupy your mind.
I know a great deal about many of the things on Euclidia. Perhaps I could tell you something that would help you.
That's true, Tex. After all, Joan knows more about this island than any of us. Probably more than we shall ever know, and we haven't asked her for any information of real value.
Well, I got an idea that the more we hear about this place, the more hopeless it's going to look.
That is true. The more you see on this island and learn about it, the more you realize that the Euclideans are the most terrible and dangerous people in the world.
Just the same, they must have overlooked something. And we'll find a method of communicating with our friends in the world outside.
Tex, I just remembered something.
Something that will help us out of this?
At least it may help us to understand it. The old sailor's diary.
I was to tell you about that pitiful old gentleman who thought he had escaped from here.
What do you mean, thought he had escaped? He did escape.
Of course he did, Joan. And he was picked up in the open sea and taken to a hospital somewhere. We heard about him on a shortwave broadcast. That's how we got the position of this island. And found you, my dear.
What did you mean by that, Joan? He thought he had escaped.
He was allowed to escape. And then when he was helpless, lost in the sea, he was picked up and brought back here to the island again.
Then those broadcasts we heard came from right here on this crazy Euclidia.
I thought there was something unnatural about the accent of the man we heard broadcasting. Someone from here, of course.
G-47 himself, I think. But why go to all that trouble with the poor old sailor?
It was all a trap to get you here, Captain Bradford. I have heard your name many times, and Mother's too, although they never let me know it was my mother they were talking about.
But what did they want to get the captain down here for? Oh, I know. That formula of yours, Tex.
But why torture the poor old sailor? The broadcast would have brought us anyway.
That was something I did not just understand. They did not talk too much in my presence, but it had something to do with the diary the old man kept. The scientists wanted it, and they never found it.
That's it. G-47 figured that if he allowed the old man to think he was escaping, the poor fellow would trot out the diary and try and take it with him.
What was in this diary that made it so valuable?
I am not sure, but the old sailor was allowed a great deal of freedom on the island, and I think he had found out the exact formulas and methods which made many of the Euclideans' greatest discoveries possible. And he probably had a complete map of everything contained on the island. G-47 must have known and feared this.
But the diary was never found?
Never. I think it is still on the island, and although no one can think of any possible place to hide it.
I should think those rays of theirs would look through everything and show the book up mighty quick.
Sure. They can even look through cement and steel with those things.
But not through the opaque cloth. The cloth of my dress, which you used tonight.
Say, Joan, that dress of yours, when G47 came into the radio cabin and saw us with the dress, it didn't look surprised. Said he knew we had it.
Of course he did.
You must have gone too near the door, Joan, and he saw you with my dress on.
I think not, but how else would he know?
He would know because I did not turn my dress in with the others to be destroyed.
Turn it in to be destroyed?
Destroy a lovely piece of material like that?
Every day?
Every evening. You have heard how we make a new dress every day in 300 seconds. You will see all that when G47 allows you to go through the laboratory.
Why 300 seconds? Say 5 minutes, Joan. You're in our world now, and we aren't so busy, but what we can talk in minutes.
Yes, my dear. You will do everything as we do it now.
I like to do things your way, Mother dear.
I'm sure glad you're on our side, Joan. You're going to make a great little sidekick for me.
But I like you, Jerry. Why should I make a sidekick at you?
Oh, no. That's just my way of saying that you and I are going to get along all right.
Your conversation is confusing to me, Jerry, with your many exaggerated idiosyncrasies of expression.
Golly, whiskers.
That is what I mean. Golly is what you call slang, is it not?
Oh, I guess it is.
Then what are the whiskers for? I have learned that you use a great deal of slang because you're too lazy to speak correctly. But the whiskers on the golly, there's no sense to that, Jerry.
Look, you win. I give up. Forget it.
Don't look so worried, Joan. Jerry was just having a little fun with you.
I thought I was, but I got a notion she's having some fun with me.
I'm afraid Joan hasn't had much experience in having fun, Jerry. Euclidia isn't a funny place.
No, Mother. Until you and Jerry and the captain came to this island, I had never heard anyone laugh as you do. These Euclideans only laugh when they're watching someone suffer or planning some terrible thing to do.
Now, dear, you're not going to worry any more about all this tonight, and you must get some sleep. Tex, you and Jerry say good night and go to your cabin. I want a few moments alone with Joan, and she's very tired, aren't you, dear?
Oh, no, Mother. I am not at all tired.
Oh, sure you are. Your eyes look like 2 fried holes in a blanket.
Fried holes? In a blanket? How can you fry...
Skip it. I'm sorry I started it. Good night, Joan. Good night, Mrs. Gregory.
Good night, Jerry.
Good night, Pat and Joan. Jerry will take turns with me on deck tonight, so don't worry. See you in the morning. Night.
Good night, Tex. Jerry.
Gee, Tex, they've got that funny yellow light all over the island again. You can hardly see.
That's what we're up against, kid. That weird yellow light all over this island is a pretty good example of how much we can see of what's ahead of us.
You're right, sir. We can't see a thing.
Into the mysterious South Pacific Ocean sailed the magnificent yacht of Mrs. Patricia Gregory. Captain Tex Bradford, her business manager, and young Jerry Hall went with her in search of Mrs. Gregory's little daughter, Joan. The Gregory yacht is now held to the strange Isle of Euclidia, and all on board are prisoners of G47 and his colony of scientists. Joan has spent her first night on board the yacht, away from the weird scientists who have raised her in ignorance of the outside world. The Gregory party is just leaving the yacht for their first daylight view of the island.
Well, the island looks a lot different in the daylight.
Everything sparkles just as if it had been polished.
Does someone have to shine that stuff all the time, Joan?
No, Jerry. The whole surface of the island, except the stone we are walking on, is made of some metal that never tarnishes. These buildings have looked exactly the same as long as I can remember, and they are never touched.
It certainly is an island of wonders, even if they are terrible wonders.
They won't be so terrible when we get back to our world with them.
I'm afraid, Captain Bradford, that will never be done.
Have there been many prisoners like ourselves, dear?
A great many, and those who tried to escape are nowhere now.
Gee, didn't they all try to escape?
Oh, no. Most of the Euclideans started as prisoners, but they are as bad as the scientists now.
I can't imagine anyone wanting to become a party to the scientific horrors being created here.
What could the scientists offer these prisoners as a reward for staying and working with them?
I've heard some of them talking, and most of them were people who were not satisfied with their life in the world or their position in it. And G47 has promised each of them a state or a country to rule for their own if they will help him finish his experiments.
This thing is terrific, Patricia. It means world conquest and a world of slaves if we can't prevent it.
You are right, Captain.
Well, let's quit guessing and let Joan explain some of the things she knows for sure about this island.
Yes, G47 gave you permission to take us around the island and explain it, Joan. But don't tell us anything you shouldn't.
Right. No sense in your getting punished for showing us too much.
You need not worry about that. The places I can take you into, you could walk through without me, and the others...
Well, we'll touch only the things you tell us to. But before we go into any of the buildings, there's something I want to know. Something about this concrete or stone that we've been walking on.
I know about that. You want to know why your shoes make no sound when you walk on this surface.
You bet we want to know. Pretty near scared us to death when we were walking around in the dark here last night. And we couldn't even hear our shoes hit this stone.
It felt as if we were walking on a heavy carpet. Yet this is smooth and hard as cement.
I know how that is done. They made this island out of stone, or something hard like stone. Then they painted it with the noiseless paint.
A true soundproof paint. Pat, when I get back to the States and take that formula to the studios, I'll be rich.
Hey, wait a minute.
What happened, Jerry?
Oh, nothing happened. But I just got something you said.
What did I say?
Well, you said when they made this island. You just mean when they fixed up the top of it, don't you?
Not at all. G47 explained the construction of this island quite lucidly. A hidden coral reef was utilized as a base, and the island gradually built up from the sea floor. The coral was used to form this hard substance we are walking on. So it is quite obvious, Jerry. They made the island.
But that would have taken years and an army of men.
How many people are there on this island?
I think 250.
Golly whiskers. Where do they keep them?
There can't be more than a dozen of these little steel buildings on the island. And I know most of these are radio rooms and defense chambers. Where are the people?
Everyone lives on the lower levels, and most of them work there.
Lower levels? How far down does this thing go?
There are 10 levels below us, 100 feet.
Gee whiz.
Gee whiz is very good at this time, Jerry.
100 feet deep. And about 1,000 feet across, eh, Joan?
The main circular part of the island is 600 feet in diameter. It is 800 feet between the control houses halfway out on the piers and 1,000 feet to the ends of the piers.
Then those piers are 200 feet long. How many of them are there?
12 piers and 8 submarines.
Huh? 8 what?
Submarines?
Why, this is a complete fortress.
Where are the submarines now?
They are kept between the piers, deep in the water. You enter them from the 50-foot level.
Submarines anchored 8 fathoms down, and you board them there. Oh, this is so big it's hard to believe. And think of the damage they could do to the world.
Well, what are these little bowl-shaped places on the island floor or roof or whatever this thing we're walking on is called?
It is called the roof when we are up here and the ceiling when we are under it.
There you are, Pat.
I deserved it. What are these little bowls, Joan, dear?
It is in those we have our palm garden during the safe days.
What do you mean, safe days?
When there is no ship near us and the fog ring is let down, the sun comes in, and then we grow a palm garden.
You grow a palm tree garden in these holes when you want it?
Well, that is a comparatively elementary demonstration. The chief agriculturist puts a small quantity of chemical soil in these receptacles, exposes them briefly to the light of sub-ultraviolet ray, then plants palm seeds in them, and in approximately 280 seconds, the island is suitably shaded by palm trees of mature growth.
Oh, boy, Oh, boy.
Have you actually seen that happen, Joan?
Certainly, Mother. When the ocean is free of danger and the governing body wishes to train the colony in conduct in worldly agriculture.
But what if a ship were to come upon you suddenly, or an airplane fly over? It would take time to get rid of those trees.
Only a few seconds, Captain. Just some other chemical put upon them, and in a moment they are only minute piles of vegetable ash in the bowls. Then the fog cloud is thrown around the island while that is happening. The magnetic ring is turned on, and ships pass by without even suspecting the existence of Euclidia.
It's almost too much to believe, my dear, but we know some of it is true, so the rest is more plausible.
Well, we had one boat that didn't pass the island without knowing it was here.
The Euclideans were watching you all the time, and G47 became afraid you might sail away in the night when you were released from the fog ring. So then he ordered the tractive magnets turned on to pull your yacht to the island.
How strong are those magnets?
I am not sure I can quote it accurately, but But the design of the necessary strength in those magnets is based on Maxwell's fundamental equation for the pull. And that
not so fast. Even if you know all that, I don't want to hear it. All I want to know is how large a boat they will pull to the island, and how far at sea this pull may be felt.
I know that some boats have been pulled in which were longer than the piers and had to be destroyed at once as the fog ring would not conceal them.
Jiminy Christmas.
What happened to the people on those boats?
Some of them have joined the scientists in their work, and the others... Oh, I have heard terrible things.
My poor child.
Oh, don't you worry, Joan. We'll get you out of this quick.
I don't know how quick, Jerry, but we'll get out all right.
Here is the room where we make our dresses each day for the next day.
Well, you didn't make one last night.
No, and you looked very charming in one of my dresses, dear.
And even if the material of your dress didn't do us any good last night, the time will come when that material will save our lives, and possibly more than that.
I do not see how that can be. It is a pretty and useful cloth, but after all, just a cloth.
True, dear, but with a cloth that will shield us from the light and sound waves of these scientists, we can secure a little privacy, and Jerry and Tex will try to plan our escape.
We will go in the cloth mill now. And remember, do not ask too many questions, if you have the opportunity to ask any.
Gee whiz! This is the noisiest place I was ever in. And we couldn't hear a sound from the outside.
The walls are treated with the soundproof paint.
Those machines certainly make an awful clatter.
That doesn't seem right to me. With all the other things this bunch has figured out, why don't they silence those machines?
I'll bet they can't stop the noise.
I'll bet they can stop it.
You are right, Captain. These machines are kept noisy for a good reason.
Just to give the people headaches?
No. To keep the Euclideans hearing normal.
G47 hasn't overlooked a bet, has he?
I don't understand it. What value has all this noise? I should think it would be easier on the ears and nerves and everything else to have them run quietly.
I sure don't get it, Tex.
Joan said it was to keep their hearing normal. That means that nearly everything on this island is perfectly silent. And if the people here were never to hear a sound except their own voices, they would soon lose part of the art of hearing. They would not be able to distinguish one sound from another.
Many men have come here, Captain Bradford, but no one else has ever grasped the true reason for these things as you do. I can see why G47 wanted you here.
I understand it now, and you are a clever man, Tex. These men here were really afraid to have you continue your experiments in our world. They wanted your brain here. That's why the yacht was allowed to reach the island.
Well, we came to find Joan, and we got her. So never mind how we got to the island. And if Tex is smart enough that these guys are afraid of him, then he's smart enough to get us out of this.
I hope you're right, Jerry, but I don't feel very smart right now. Show us how the machine works, will you, Joan?
You will notice that large hopper at the intake side of the room, where they are putting the Macrocystis perifera in. That is just ordinary seaweed taken from any kelp bed.
Then that wonderful cloth is made from seaweed?
Gosh, these fellas are plenty smart, all right.
The seaweed is ground up there. Then it goes through all these other machines where they do things to it which I do not understand. Then it comes out on those rollers ready to make dresses of. I do know, however, that before it comes out as you see it, it has gone down to one of the lower levels to a secret laboratory. I have never seen that.
And I'll bet that's where it gets soaked with the sound and light-proof liquid.
If we could only get our hands on some of that liquid.
Right, boy. We could cover the yacht with it and get out of here.
Why, the machinery, the noise has stopped. Has something happened?
I have never known it to stop at this time of day before.
I'll bet it's our fault. Do you think they could hear us talking through all that noise?
Probably if they wanted to, but why stop the machinery?
The alarm. That gong is only rung when someone is trying to escape from the island. Strokes. That means near Pier 5. Your yacht is anchored at Pier 5, Mother. Someone must be trying to escape from your yacht.
I'll bet the skipper's trying to take a rowboat out.
Boy, I hope he makes it.
Exploring tomorrow. And now, here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, John Campbell.
The term genius is fairly common in our language today. I wonder how many of you realize that the term originated with the old Arabian Nights concept of the genie. You know, the magical creature that came in a bottle and had such wonderful powers. The story is about a whole planet of geniuses. Genie. Interesting people to try to enslave, you know. Laboratory scientists have as much fun as anybody else, you know. One of the laboratory laws, sometimes called Finagle's Law or Murphy's Law, goes, in any laboratory experiment, if something can go wrong, it will. Well, this is the story of a planet-sized laboratory experiment in which something could go wrong.
Professor Heim to His Excellency Marshal Gorham. The ship is now in orbit about the planet of destination.
Good. Good. Have a lifeboat prepared for descent with an invisibility screen.
Yes, Your Excellency. How many crewmen will you want to take along?
None. There'll be just myself and you, Professor Heim.
Sir? You, the Marshal, landing on a barbarian world without even an escort? I'm begging your pardon, sir, but...
Do you mean that the Grand Marshal of the Galactic Imperial Armed Forces can't carry out an undercover inspection on a backward planet without a dozen Marines clanking in his wake?
No, sir. No, sir.
And please remember that the people down there have no weapon more powerful than a bow and arrow. Whereas I will be carrying a nuclear blaster under my coat.
Yes, sir. Of course, Your Excellency.
And while we are down there on that planet, Professor Heim, stand by for possible action. We may have to bombard the place with cobalt missiles. Wipe all the life off it.
Sterilize the entire planet, sir?
You heard me, Professor. I said we may have to. Not that we will. It depends on what I find down there. That peaceful, primitive world may turn out to be just another stupid scientific experiment. Or it may turn out to be the worst danger the Empire and all its stars have faced for 1,000 years. Now, I want you, Professor. I'm in my office at once. Over.
Yes, Your Excellency. Over and out.
Oh, there you are, Professor Heim.
Yes, Marshal Gorham, here I am.
You've arrived at your experimental planet.
I know. I was just watching it float there among the constellations. I don't know a more beautiful sight in the universe.
Well, break out the native costumes for us, too. We're going down.
At once?
I am a military man, Professor, not one of your psychologists. Now, so far, your people have spent 1,500 years studying that planet. But as for me, there's war on the Imperial borders, and I can spare 3 days.
3 days to decide?
To decide whether we can let your experiment go on or whether to discontinue it, shall I say?
But only 3 days. Marshal, you don't realize it would take a week just to explain the statistics of...
I know, I've heard it all. 1,500 years ago, the Psychological Research Foundation decided to learn what makes human history tick by running controlled experiments. So it took a lot of uninhabited planets and put different kinds of people on them.
Their memories wiped out, Marshal. The first generation started out knowing as little as animals. They had to discover everything for themselves. Fire, language, the wheel. Do you imagine that their descendants could have learned enough to menace us? To threaten an empire that for 3,000 years has controlled millions of planetary systems?
We've been through all this before, Heim. I've told you again and again, I'm not worried about your other experimental worlds. They're still cavemen or less. But this planet here, pure genius stock. A planet where nobody has an IQ below 150. And God knows how high they go. Well, I just can't tell about them. And His Majesty is worried, too. There have been rumors. He sent me here himself to decide whether or not those rumors could be true.
But the people down there don't even know the Galactic Empire exists. Why, the men there are still farming with plows and sailing in steamships.
Sure. What of it? Ordinary men on Earth with an average IQ of 100 needed maybe 500,000 years to get as far as your geniuses have in 1,500. I understand they've already developed Newtonian physics, chemical batteries, telescopes, world governments. At that rate, they'll be visiting the other planets of this system in 50 years. They'll reach the stars in a century, and then they'll be loose in the Galactic Empire. Do you think they'd fit tamely into the caste system, like good subjects of the Emperor? Why, they couldn't even if they tried. They'd produce a new invention and a new philosopher every day. And that would mean the end of stability, and that, Professor, would mean the end of the Empire.
So you say, but you're a soldier. You don't understand.
Yes, I know. I'm a dirty militarist who can't see past the end of my own guns. All I'm good for is killing, huh? And you're a noble intellectual scientist. Yeah. I've heard that guff before, Professor, and I've gotten pretty tired of it.
But I tell you, the genius people are cooperative and...
My orders are to inspect the place and decide for myself whether they're right or not. So that's what I'm going to do. Come along, Hein.
Exploring Tomorrow continues in just a moment. When driving, luck can stay with you for years. But on the road, it can leave you in a split second, a tragic split second. So drive carefully. You will live longer, and you will arrive alive.
There's been considerable discussion of what constitutes good and evil over the last few millenniums. But, you know, there's an interesting comment someone made. I don't know where it did originate. Melodrama is the conflict between good and evil. And tragedy is the conflict between good and good. When two good men, each with a good point to make, get into conflict, that's where real tragedy starts.
All right, Professor. I've got the lifeboat into the atmosphere and leveled off. So where do I head now? Hi. Wake up, you wool-headed dreamer.
I'm sorry, Marshal. I was thinking, looking out the porthole and thinking.
What about?
How lovely the sky is. So blue. And the land below, mountains and forests and hopeful young farms.
Oh, no, a poet yet. Well, I'm thinking about my job of inspection. Where shall we go?
Fly northeast for 700 kilometers and you'll find this planet's largest city. It's also the capital of the world government.
That'll do. I should be able to observe a pretty good cross-section of the genius race.
Do you seriously believe you can decide the fate of an entire world on the basis of what you see in one city? How do you expect to learn anything, even there? You don't speak any of the local languages, not even the international one that developed.
You'll talk for both of us. We'll claim to be visitors from a long ways off, the opposite hemisphere. We'll just wander around town for a couple of days, and I'll get the feel of the place.
You mean you decide whether these people live or die just on the basis of a hunch?
Now, here we are. Landed in an empty meadow. You're sure nobody will happen by?
Well, what do they do? The lifeboat is invisible.
Even so. Well, we don't want the genius people learning the truth, do we, Professor?
No, of course not. On that, you and I do agree. But my own motive is that I don't want to spoil the experiment.
Come on, let's get moving. We'll have to hike into the city. Oh, it's nice outdoors. Sunshine. I don't know when I last breathed air that didn't come out of a tank.
And you turn all this into black radioactive ash.
Come on, I said. Let's start walking. Well, there's a road. It's pretty well paved.
Oh, yes. 10 years ago, this was a livestock trail. Today, they're driving steam automobiles over it. I predict that 10 years from now, the first airplane will use this for a landing strip.
But where's the mass market to support all that progress?
There isn't much of one. Actually, most people here are still riding around in buggies. You see, they have a unique social system. The average man on this planet would rather buy a new book than a new gadget. But at the same time, their engineers keep on making inventions because a mind of such power can't help being creative.
And I tell you, the Empire can't afford what you call creativeness. So this is their biggest city.
Right. There are about 1 million people in it.
You call that a city?
Oh, considering the small population of this world, yes.
It's backward, all right. Carts pulled by animals. Water pumped by windmills, bearded men in clothes of vegetable fiber, wood in plaster houses, gas lamps.
That's what I keep telling you, Marshal. These people aren't demons. They're as human as you and I. They're born the same way as us. Grow up, learn, love, laugh, weep, and die like human beings anywhere in all space and time. They simply happen to be more intelligent. Let them live.
70 generations ago, they were savages. They didn't even know how to chip a flint. And now they've come to this.
Yes. Our observers mingling with them in disguise have already learned more about historical dynamics than...
Oh, sure, this city is still primitive. But in another 100 years, they have schools, laboratories. They don't frown on artists and scientists and philosophers. They glorify them. So, in 100 years, they'll be out among the stars. And we don't dare allow that.
But they won't, Marshal, not necessarily. If only you'd let me show you the economic data. For instance, the great uninhabited spaces they still have right on their home planet.
Shut up, I'm thinking.
Thinking? I don't think you're able to.
What did you say?
Nothing.
I have a knife, Grand Marshal Gorham. You don't know that, do you? You think I'm just another ineffectual little dreamer, don't you? Well, you may find out different.
If by militarist we mean someone who believes that it is necessary to use physical force to carry out, to implement a theory, a belief, then it looks to me like Professor Heim has become a militarist. He intends to use force, doesn't he?
Arauto Solar, Perda.
Saban Hostet.
What did he say, that bellhop or whatever he was?
He wished us good night in the international language. He thinks we're foreigners, you remember?
Ha! If he only knew how foreign.
That's a cheap way to feel superior, isn't it?
Oh, shut up, Heim. I'm still trying to decide what to do about this planet. There are too many paradoxes. The waiter in the restaurant wanted to ask you about the ethnology of the country he thought we came from. This is a nice, clean hotel room, but it doesn't have running water. And yet the clerk downstairs was reading what I swear must have been a mathematical journal.
Does that make them monsters? Under the social system here, such routine jobs are done by students. And, of course, every person on this planet goes through at least 5 years of college. But that's all it amounts to, Gorham.
A whole world of long-haired dreamers who are experimenting with aircraft and rockets, who developed the theory of evolution before they learned how to smelt iron. I don't trust them.
Of course, you don't understand them. You're too... I mean...
Too stupid? Isn't that what you're going to say, Professor? I'm just a dumb militarist who worked his way from private soldier to Grand Marshal of the Galactic Empire. No fine sciences, just a hired hand keeping the barbarian raiders off your scientific back. Well, Professor Heim, I happen to be the man who will decide what's to become of this planet of geniuses.
And have you decided yet, Your Excellency?
Not yet. I can still take a couple of days to...
2 more days? After the Foundation work of 1,500 years?
Hey, what are you doing?
This is a knife in my hand, Marshal Gorham. Don't move. If you reach for that blaster, I'll kill you.
You gone crazy, Heim?
No. You're the crazy one. You're the lunatic who would blot out man's last best hope, this planet. You allow yourself 3 days to decide the whole future of the world. Now unbuckle that blaster. Don't let your hand come near the trigger. I'll drop it on the floor. Kick it over to me. So. Now I've got you where I want you.
But, Professor, I haven't decided anything yet. I might decide this experiment is safe. I might still report to the Emperor. There's nothing to be afraid of. He can forget your race.
You might, but I know you won't. I'm going to kill you, Marshal Gorham. I'm going to report to the spaceship captain that you died accidentally. And then I'm going to hope that the next Imperial Inspector will be more reasonable.
Look out! Stand back, you fool! Don't!
I only stabbed you in the arm that time, Marshal Gorham. But you're in a corner now. I'll get you this time.
Go! Go, Veridan!
Go along. Or don't go along, you rat.
Ustanik Sholti Klo! Klo!
You spoke their language. You already know the language of this planet.
The attendant has the key, of course. He's coming in. Drop that knife, Professor Heim. He's a husky chap.
Salomona.
Yai. Take la oderet. Drop that knife, I said, Professor.
Yes, of course.
Sit down, Heim. You look more shocked than I am. Careful on the mark, Joan. He's gone after the first aid kit for me. Not that you hurt me seriously.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter.
And you're a native of this planet yourself.
Yes. I was born here, though I've lived most of my life out in the Empire.
We thought we were keeping a planet full of geniuses in ignorance. How long have you known?
We began to suspect the truth 500 years ago. And we discovered that all life had evolved from lower forms, but couldn't find a subhuman ancestor for man. And finally, your disguised observers were identified. We even used blind man techniques to spot those wearing invisibility screens. Did you really expect you could go on fooling a race with twice your brain power?
Well, we thought so. Yes, I suppose it was foolish.
Some of us wormed our way into space as throwaways or in disguise, that sort of thing. People here live quietly, so as not to give the show away. We don't tell our children the truth till they're old enough to keep up the pretense. But meanwhile, for the past 300 years, our agents have been out in the Empire, learning everything you know, posing as citizens, working up into the key positions of your government. We can do that by sheer merit.
Yes, obviously you can become imperial marshals.
Quite. And when the Emperor got suspicious, he sent me, his trusted soldier, a notorious anti-intellectual, to check up for him. Naturally, I was going to give this planet a clean bill of health, but I had to string you along first to make it look good. Evidently, I put on a better act than I had planned.
And now that I know your secret?
I'll have to report that you were accidentally killed here, Professor. But don't worry. All you have to do is spend the rest of your life here as one of us. I don't think you'll mind that.
Oh, no, not personally. I'd enjoy it. I used to envy the people on this world. But when you, your race, when you've completely taken over the Galactic Empire from within, what do you plan to do?
Well, we'll remodel it, shall I say. I'm afraid you wouldn't understand exactly what we intend to do. It's a little beyond your grasp, but it will be for the benefit of the ordinary galactic citizen, too. The poor, backward, benighted galactic empire.
They say that the first requirement for teaching a dog to do tricks is that you have to know more than the dog. If you want to teach a planet full of geniuses to do tricks for you, first make sure you know more than the geniuses. You can enslave some kinds of entities, but you can't enslave, you can't impose on entities who are more intelligent, more thoughtful, more wise than you yourself. What will happen is they'll turn out to be helping you in disguise.
Join us for a fascinating adventure in Exploring Tomorrow. Heard in our cast tonight were Ron Dawson and Al Ruscio. Script was by Powell Anderson, produced and directed by Sanford Marshall here in New York. Guy Wallace speaking.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman,
strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. Convinced that someone is attempting to cause the collapse of the Metropolis University football team to prevent it from winning its final game with Southwest, Clark Kent has investigated every possible angle. As Superman, he followed the training table cook, Sam Doff, after young Jimmy Olsen had seen Doff put some medicine in the milk pitchers intended for the members of the team. But the portly cook turned out to be a false lead. Disappointed, Kent was about to give up when he received a call from editor Perry White, reporting a new development. As our story continues today, Kent is back at the Daily Planet in Editor White's office. Listen.
Here's the note I told you about over the phone, Kent. Read it.
Okay, Mr. White. Clark Kent, you will meet me at the Cedar Crest Sanatorium at midnight tonight. I will give you some interesting information. Signed, Dr. Wilson.
What's the Cedar Crest Sanatorium?
It's one of the beneficiaries under the terms of Mr. Richards' will.
Where'd you get that information?
I got it tonight from John Quincy, the lawyer who drew the will.
I thought you told me he refused to cooperate.
Oh, well, I talked him into it.
Oh, you talked him into it?
Uh-huh.
I don't suppose you've seen a copy of the late edition of the Planet, have you?
No.
Remember? It's the newspaper for which you're supposed to be working.
If that's meant to be sarcastic.
Well, whatever gave you that idea? Now, here. Take a look at the front page, left-hand column.
Costumed burglar defies gravity. Red-caped second-story man leaps out window as police guns blaze. What is this?
Go ahead, read further.
A man with wings visited Metropolis today, broke into the 14th floor offices of John Quincy, senior partner of the law firm of Quincy, Gardner and Scott, forced Mr. Quincy to open his wall safe, and then amid a hail of police bullets, calmly leaped out of the open window and vanished from sight. Oh, that sounds like a fairy story.
Yes, doesn't it? But it isn't, Kent. There were 3 eyewitnesses, Quincy and 2 cops.
Now, look, Mr. White, in the first place, anyone who jumped out a 14th floor window would have to be picked up off the ground with a vacuum cleaner.
And that's what has the police running around in circles, tearing their hair. That's what nobody can understand.
And in the second place, why would anyone break into an office dressed in a red cape and blue tights?
Who said anything about blue tights?
Why, I saw it mentioned in the story.
Oh. Well, maybe that kid is right.
What kid?
Jimmy Olsen. He says it was Superman.
Jimmy would. Well, it really doesn't matter now. This message is far more important. I'm going to keep that midnight appointment.
And I'm going with you.
Well, that's not at all necessary, Mr. White. You don't like to stay out late.
Don't you worry about what I like or don't like. I said I'm going with you.
Okay, you're the boss.
I wish you'd remember that more often. Now, come on, it's 10:30. It'll take us an hour to get there.
I'm ready.
We'll take my car. And, Ken, what happened after you brought Dorf, the cook, back to the university?
Oh, everything went to pieces. Dr. Stone said the medicine Dorf was putting in the milk was vitamin B1 compound. The men on the team get a dose of it every day. Then Professor Nelson made matters worse by telling me that Dorf's son was in the Children's Hospital at Sharon Heights suffering from infantile paralysis. That's why he had to catch a train to visit the boy.
Well, I must say you managed to mess things up beautifully. And yet, you still think someone's trying to ruin the team?
Yes, I can't believe the collapse of every man on the squad last week was accidental or a coincidence. Things don't happen that way. After all, any one of the 3 beneficiaries might be very interested in keeping the university from getting the $3 million legacy.
Who are the other 2 besides the sanatorium?
Clark, a half-brother of Richards, and George Kane, a nephew. Clark lives out west and is independently rich. Kane, according to last reports, was working on an oil tanker.
I see. And you think someone's trying to put the football team out of the commission to get hold of the money?
That's what it looks like. Oh, slow up a minute. There's a sign up ahead. Cedar Crest Sanatorium, 1/4 mile. Turn left here.
What was the bird's name up here?
Wilson, Dr. Wilson. He probably runs the place. Oh, that must be it. The big stone building on the hill there.
I'd have to be pretty sick to come up to this deserted neck of the woods.
Now, there's the driveway between those cedar trees.
Yeah, I see it is.
Well, here we are.
What time is it?
11:45.
15 minutes early. I don't suppose it makes any difference.
No, let's go in.
Looks like a morgue more than a sanatorium.
Doesn't seem to be any bell.
We'll knock.
All right.
How come Richards named this place in his will?
I don't know. Maybe he spent some time here. Maybe they pulled him through an illness. Oh, somebody's coming.
Yes? Who is it?
Mr. Kent, I have an appointment with Dr. Wilson.
Just a moment.
Come in, please.
Oh.
There's another gentleman with you.
Yes, Mr. White, the editor of my newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
Come in.
Thank you.
Step this way, please. Dr. Wilson is busy at the moment, but if you will be seated here in the waiting room, I will tell him you have arrived. Mr. Kent, what is the other gentleman's name?
Perry White.
Thank you. Tell Dr. Wilson.
All she needs is a broomstick to make her the best Halloween witch I've ever seen. What a face.
She can't help her face, Mr. White.
I suppose not. And I'd hate to bump into her on a dark night. Scare the living daylights out of me. Notice her eyes? Look like little black shoe buttons.
I imagine she's the matron or manager. Here she comes.
Dr. Wilson will see you in his private office.
Oh.
Follow me, please.
All right.
Through this hallway. This is Dr. Wilson's office. Step inside, please.
Hey, wait a minute. She's locked us in.
All right. This isn't an office at all. It's a bare room with 2 chairs. There aren't even any windows.
Hey, open up. Open up, I said.
Don't excite yourselves, gentlemen.
Where's that voice coming from?
That grill in the ceiling. There's a loudspeaker behind it.
And a microphone as well, Mr. Kent. I can hear everything you say, but unfortunately I will not be able to speak with you again until next Saturday.
Saturday? What's he talking about?
Both you and Mr. Kent are to be my guests until next Saturday, Mr. White.
That voice, I've heard it before.
Whoever you are, you're crazy.
Oh, no. Just cautious. But have no fears. No harm will come to you. The room you are in is an oxygen chamber used to treat severe cases of asthma. It is soundproof and airproof. Your meals will be served you through the conveyor at the base of the wall on your right. You will be released late Saturday night.
What sort of nonsense is this?
It isn't nonsense, Mr. White. He plans to keep us here until after the game on Saturday, the game he wants Metropolis to lose.
Precisely, Mr. Kent. You owe this temporary inconvenience to your own inquisitive nature. I warned you not to interfere, but you failed to take heed.
Who are you? What's your name?
You may call me Dr. Wilson.
I'll call you a lot of other things before I'm through.
Go right ahead.
Now, look here.
Just a minute, Mr. White. Let me talk to you. In the first place, your name isn't Dr. Wilson. In the second place, what do you hope to gain by keeping us here?
You know exactly what I hope to gain, Mr. Kent. $1 million.
So, you admit you're the man behind the collapse of the Metropolis team.
Why not? It's too late to do anything about it. Too late for you. There won't be 11 fighting men out on that field Saturday afternoon. There'll be 11 days, groggy excuses for football players.
Why, you dirty snake in the grass.
That won't help you now, Mr. White.
I'll break this door down.
Don't waste your time. It's solid steel.
Oh, if I could only get my hands on you.
If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. Well, gentlemen, I must leave you. If you wish anything, press the button to the left of the door. Good night.
Wait, come back.
He's gone.
Now what do we do? You got me into this.
Just take it easy, Mr. White.
What day is this?
Tuesday. No, wait, it's after midnight. It's Wednesday.
And do you mean to say we're going to be cooped up in this dungeon till Saturday? 4 days? Not on your life.
Hey, give me a chance to think. That voice. I know it, but I can't place it.
Oh, what's the difference? We've got to get out of here. Yeah, I'll press that button. I'll press it until the cows come home. It rings a bell.
Yes. What do you want?
Open the door.
Don't be a fool.
Okay, then I'll keep ringing.
Stop that. Take your finger off that button.
Not on your life.
Then we will have to put you both to sleep for a while.
What's that? Some sort of gas pouring into the room.
It's choking me. Stop it. Stop it.
Remember, don't press that bell button.
I'm sorry, but we will.
Kent, stop. Don't. You see what you've done? Kent! The gas! It's pouring in! Kent, in the heavens! Stop! Stop!
Why is Clark Kent keeping his finger on the bell button and allowing the gas to fill the chamber? He must have some reason. But the question is, will he be too late? Has the owner of the familiar voice already left the sanatorium? And by the way, whose voice is it? Do you know? Well, don't forget to tune in next time to make sure. It looks like Clark Kent is about to solve the mystery, but there are still some exciting moments ahead. So listen in with Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. As you remember, Clark Kent and Editor Perry White were lured to the Cedar Crest Sanatorium and imprisoned in a soundproof oxygen chamber. A man's voice, strangely familiar to Kent, assured them no harm would come to them, but that they would have to remain in the chamber until late Saturday night. Enraged, Perry White kept his finger glued to a push button that rang a bell somewhere in the huge stone house. Warned to stop under threat of being gassed by the hatchet-faced woman who had admitted them to the sanatorium, White refused. Immediately, a sleep-producing gas began pouring into the chamber. White took his finger off the push button and the gas stopped. Clark Kent, realizing that if Perry White were unconscious, he could force the steel door as Superman, deliberately continued to press the bell button, despite White's choking demands that he stop. As we join them now, gas is still pouring into the chamber, as Kent continues to ring the bell, and Perry White has dropped to his knees, fighting for breath. Listen.
Take your finger off that button. We'll suffocate.
No, they can't bulldoze us.
Fool that you are. What can you gain? The gas will put you to sleep, and you will awake with your head aching.
Listen to me. I demand that you. I demand that you.
Your friend has succumbed. Now do you see what will happen to you if you continue to ring that bell?
You can't frighten me. You can't.
You're weakening, aren't you? You can't breathe. Your legs are becoming like water. Just a few seconds more.
I told you, you can't. You can't. Oh.
Perhaps next time you will know better. Sleep, my friends. Sleep.
Sorry, lady, but I'm not the least bit sleepy. I'll just give you a chance to get out of earshot, and then we'll see who should know better next time. Oh, poor Mr. White. I hated to see him gasp for breath and then collapse, but it was the only way. Well, guess it's safe now. Safe enough for Clark Kent to become
Superman. This door shouldn't be too hard to open, even if it is solid steel. The noise will probably bring that witch woman running, but it'll be too late then. Here goes. It's pretty tough. Well, a little more effort and it should buckle. There, that does it. Now let's see whether old Hatchet Face heard that crash. I'll just step back in the shadows here and handle her as Clark Kent. Here she comes.
Oh,
Surprise?
oh, where are you?
Right here, madam. Oh, no, not so fast. I want to talk things over with you.
That's so,
Not until you answer a few questions.
I don't know anything. Let me go.
You were pretty cocky just a few minutes ago when you shot that sleeping gas into the chamber.
How did you get out?
Never mind that now. I'm out. And if you value your neck, you'll talk and talk fast. Who was the man you spoke to us through that loudspeaker?
Dr. Wilson.
You know you're lying. There's no Dr. Wilson here. Who was it?
I told you, Dr. Wilson.
Who owns this sanatorium?
Dr. Wilson.
See, you've been well trained. All right, where is Dr. Wilson?
He's gone.
Where did he go?
I don't know.
Now, look, lady, this is serious business. A matter of life or death for many people. Where can I find Dr. Wilson or whatever his name is?
I told you I don't know. What more do you want?
I want the truth.
That's what you've got.
All right, we'll have to use other methods. Perhaps the police can get you to talk.
I haven't done anything.
Oh, nothing except locking two people in an oxygen chamber and attempting to put them to sleep with gas, that's all.
He told me to do it.
Who told you?
Dr. Wilson.
Almost forgot yourself that time, didn't you? No. Oh, Mr. White's regaining consciousness. Now you're in for it. He runs the most powerful newspaper in the country. He'll see to it that you go to jail.
No, he can't. I'm just being paid.
By whom?
I told you. Dr. Wilson.
Kent, where are you?
Right here, Mr. White. All right, step inside, lady, and don't try to get away.
Kent, what happened? That gas.
It's all over now, Mr. White.
All over? Oh, my head. It's splitting.
Here, I'll help you get up. There we are.
Kent, that woman. She's the one who locked us in here.
I know.
She turned the gas on.
Yes.
I was only following orders.
Whose orders?
No sense asking her that, Mr. White. She has a stock answer. Dr. Wilson.
Yes, that's true.
Kent, I don't understand this. Who opened that steel door?
I did.
But how?
Well, evidently it wasn't locked properly, but don't worry about that. We have more important things to think about. This mysterious Dr. Wilson admitted he was the man behind the attempt to ruin the Metropolis football team. He must be located. She says he left.
You can search all over. He is not here.
Where did he go?
She says she doesn't know.
I don't.
Well, maybe someone else around here does.
There isn't anybody else. I'm here all alone.
What do you mean, the sanatorium isn't in operation?
There have been no patients here for 3 years.
Then what's that?
Someone's knocking at the front door.
Arthur, open up.
Oh, that's our friend, Dr. Wilson. Evidently he returned for something.
No, it is not. You are wrong.
Arthur!
We'll see how wrong I am. Come on, let's let him in.
I am not supposed to admit strangers.
This isn't a stranger. Listen to him.
Arthur, where are you?
He's calling you by your first name. All right, come on, or do I have to drag you?
Arthur, open this door.
Go ahead, open it.
I told you I am not supposed
Stop
to.
stalling. Open the door.
All right.
Arthur!
They got out of the chamber. Drive away, quickly!
Here, lad. She kept him off.
Drive away before they
Should have known you. Warn him. Get the door up, Mr. White. Hurry, I'll keep her quiet. Why, you...
He's pulling out of the driveway.
Now, we'll follow him. You're coming along with us, madam. Police might want to talk to you.
No, you can't do this.
There's nothing we can't do. Come on.
You let go of me. Let go of me. Let go, I tell you.
Open the front door, Mr. White.
Yes.
All right, in you go.
Don't pay for this.
I'll take my chances. Okay, Mr. White, you get in back. Right. I'll handle the wheel. Which way did he go?
Out the driveway and along the main road to Metropolis.
Okay, hold on.
Swinging out of the sanatorium driveway, Clark Kent hits the smooth concrete of the main road, traveling at 70 miles an hour. Far in the distance, the twin taillights of the car he is following gleam like red fireflies in the darkness. Gripping the wheel, Kent jams the gas pedal to the floor.
Is that the car up ahead, Kent?
I think so. Traveling fast, but unless we run into trouble, we'll stay right with him.
You are making a big mistake. That is not Dr. Wilson's car.
I'll worry about that.
I saw the license number, or at least part of it, as he pulled out of the driveway. It was S484. Now, if we can get close enough, we can tell.
Watch it. Curve coming up.
You're driving like a maniac. We'll all be killed. I demand that you stop and let me out.
Sorry, but you'll have to put up with it. Not nervous, are you?
Yes, I am.
Well, you weren't nervous when you ushered us into that oxygen chamber and locked the door. You weren't nervous when you filled the chamber with sleep-producing gas.
How many times must I tell you I had to do it? Those were my orders.
Well, this is my order. Sit tight and watch the fun.
We seem to be creeping up on him, Kent. Don't you think so?
Yes, he's slowing down a little. Probably feels he's not being followed. I'll try and pass him. Hold on.
See his license plate yet?
No, not quite.
You're doing 80.
Yes, that's right.
I don't like it.
Well, you're going to dislike a lot of things before we're through. That's the car, Mr. White. I can see the license plate now. S484237. I'll pass him.
He won't get over.
He'll get over, or I'll know the reason why.
Look out, he's swerving.
I'll fix him for that.
Hit! There's a hairpin curve. He's going off the road straight into that tree. Oh, no!
I told you. Oh, never mind what you told me. Come on, Mr. White.
He hit that tree going 60. He's done for.
Looks like it. No, wait a minute. He's still breathing. Here, I'll get this buckle door open and you drag him out.
Okay. Better work fast.
All right. There. It's clear.
Yeah, I got it.
Can't stop me now. Can't stop me now.
God. Do you know who it is?
No. Who?
Dr. Stone. Professor Nelson's assistant at the medical laboratory.
Too late. No antidote in this country. Way down Central America. Too late.
Dr. Stone, what are you talking about? Antidote for what?
Football team. Can't win Saturday without antidote. Too late to get it. Way down Central America. Savage tribe. Too late.
It's all over.
What was he babbling about?
He wasn't babbling. He was telling us that the men on the Metropolis football team have already received a dose of the weakening potion that will make them dazed and helpless next Saturday.
What was this about Central America?
I think he meant the only antidote could be found in Central America, and that we were too late to get it. And unfortunately, I'm afraid he's right.
With Dr. Stone's lips sealed forever, what can Clark Kent do to save the football team? According to Stone, the men on the squad have already received a dose of the numbing potion. The only antidote can be found in Central America. But where in Central America? And what is the antidote? Even Superman, with all his ability, is helpless without that information. Can he get it in 48 hours? Listen in and follow the thrilling race against time with Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invite you to rocket into the future with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Stand by to raise ship. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0! Roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Solar Guard headquarters in Equator City is one of the newest and most imposing buildings in that thriving metropolis. In an office on the 95th floor of the tower, Cadet Tom Corbett presses a button which opens a sliding door to admit a visitor. A tall, good-looking stranger enters the room and, smiling, extends his hand.
Cadet Corbett? That's right. My name's Polk. Leo Polk, mostly called Lucky, which I usually am.
What can I do for you, Mr. Polk?
Well, I wanted to see Captain Strong.
Captain Strong blasted off for Delport 3 days ago.
For Delport? Ouch.
Oh, what's the matter?
Well, Lucky Leo's not so lucky. I sure wanted to see Captain Strong.
Oh, sorry, but you see, Delport's a newly discovered planet with its own atmosphere, a tropical belt that's a regular paradise in space.
And mineral wealth, too, I hear.
So you know about Delport.
Yep, I heard about it just the other day at Venusport. And about some kind of colonization race. And what is that, anyway?
Well, Mr. Polk.
Leo, huh?
Okay, Leo. Since it's such a rich planet, the Interplanetary Council is opening it up to colonists. A group of rocket ships blast off tomorrow at dawn. Ship owners and crew members get the right to claim sections of land in order of their arrival.
Now you're talking. Corbett, that's what I'm here for. I want to go along.
I'm afraid that won't be possible.
Why not? Look, Corbett, I hold an unrestricted pilot's license, not only for solar system travel, but outer space as well.
Well, that's not the point. The race starts in just a few hours, so the crews are all, well, they're all made up.
No passengers? I might be able to raise some money.
Say, Tom, I've got that list of it. Oh, sorry, I didn't know you had a visitor.
Well, that's all right, Astro. Meet Leo Polk. He's a licensed space pilot.
How are you?
Wanted to sign on for the Delport land rush.
Have you explained about
Yeah, Corbett saw me.
There's been a lot of interest in this thing, Mr. Polk. Why, look at this list of spacemen who put their names down as substitutes, just in case some regular crewman gets sick or something.
Well, you got any pilots on that list?
Well, let's see. Wiper, power engineer, spaceman first class, radio repairman, astrogator, communications engineer. We've got about every rating here except pilot.
I wish you'd put me down.
There's not a chance in a million, Bud, if you want me to list you.
Thanks, Corbett, I do. If you need me, I'll be at the Carina Hotel.
Right.
Well, I won't take up any more of your time. Thanks a lot, gentlemen.
What an optimist. The biggest land rush of the century, and he expects to get in on it at the last minute.
Yeah. Nice guy, though. Hey, wait. Don't take off your jacket. It's time for evening inspection.
Oh, let's do it after chow. I've been on the jump all afternoon, and I'm starved.
We can't take any chances, Astro. If those 5 ships don't blast off on schedule tomorrow morning, we'll be a couple of ex-cadets. The spaceport sure is quiet tonight, Astro.
And look at the sky. Wish we were at Delport now with Roger and Captain Strong.
We'll be there soon enough. Somebody had to stay behind to make sure that none of the 5 ships jumped the gun. You know, took unfair advantage.
Oh, nobody's going to try any funny stuff after all.
Astro, watch your step there.
Blast it. Now, what dope left the duffel bag out on the field?
That's no duffel bag.
Well, it'll be a Martian mouse. It's a man.
Throw your light on him.
Tom, look. His head.
Yes, he's hurt.
Here, I'll turn him around a little.
Great galaxy, Astro. Don't you recognize him?
It's the pilot of the Thespian. And is that gonna be trouble?
Well, why? What do you mean?
The Thespian. That's Chatfield's ship. You know, Chatfield the actor. If he can't blast off for Delport with the others, he'll have our hide.
He's going to blast off, Astro. It's our job to make sure of that. But first, let's get this poor guy to the hospital.
Hey, Tom, you're certainly in a hurry to get out of this hospital.
We've got work to do.
Yeah, but Doc says the pilot may regain consciousness soon, and he may be able to tell us who slugged him.
And Chatfield's there. He'll join us at the Serena Hotel as soon as there's anything new.
Serena? Why are we going there?
Chatfield needs a pilot. And remember our friend Leo?
Polk, you mean? Who was in the office this afternoon?
Right. If we work fast, we can screen him and have Chatfield all set by blast-off time.
Desk's over this way, Tom.
Right. Let's go check. Oh, blast. What now? Hello, Mr. Sutton. Astro, why don't you get Polk's room number while I see what Sutton wants?
Is that the Sutton who owns one of the expedition ships?
Yeah, the New World is his. And that's his captain with him, name of Dunning. Go on, Astro. Get the room number.
Okay, but you better get rid of them fast, Tom.
Corbett, you're just the man I want to see.
What can I do for you, Mr. Sutton?
We've heard rumors that Chatfield's ship won't be blasting off tomorrow.
Oh? Now tell me, Dunning, where did you hear that?
Well, it's all over the place, Corbett. The way we hear it, the Thespian's pilot's in the hospital. So naturally, without a pilot, they're out of luck.
Oh, there you are.
Mr. Chatfield.
Listen, Corbett. My pilot swears that the villain who attacked him wore the insignia of a New World crewman on his sleeve.
You must be blast happy, Chatfield. Plain crazy.
Now, look here, gentlemen.
You two are the crazy ones. Crazy to get to Delport first. Crazy to claim the mineral deposits by the lake. Crazy enough to kill.
Of course we hope to grab off the mineral deposits, don't you? Why, they're the biggest prize on the planet.
Don't try to lie out of it. Corbett, my man saw the New World insignia on the man who attacked him.
It's a frame-up.
So I demand that you place Sutton and Dunning under arrest
right now.
You are crazy.
Why,
you broken down ham-act.
Broken down, Dunning, eh? Well, I'll show you.
We're no fighting prejudice, both of you. If it's the strap you want, Chatfield, we'll be glad to oblige. Heavy at him, boss. Dunning, put away that blast. Anything he can start, I can finish. I said put that blast away. Corbett.
Tom, look out. He's trying to fire.
Tom.
You killed him, Dunning. You killed him.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Spacemen, attention. Here's our latest report on your official space goggles. Right now, a spaceship is headed on a course toward Space Academy with a special cargo of emergency rations. Space Academy is stocking up with a needed supply of Kellogg's Pep, that swell-tasting cereal with a rich malt flavor. You see, now more than ever before, the cadets need the wonderful food energy everybody gets by eating the build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Every cadet is standing extra duty and working hard so that you can get your pair of space goggles as soon as possible. Well, the cadets don't mind this added work because they want you to have this valuable piece of space equipment. They want you to have the protection you need, whether you're heading into the glaring sun, bucking a strong headwind, or working with tools in your workshop. These streamlined space goggles help give you protection against the elements. They're made of one sweeping curved piece of colored plastic, and they give you full, clear visibility wherever you look. Now, to get a pair, here's what you do. Send one Kellogg's Pep box top, 25 cents, and your name and address. One box top from Kellogg's Pep, 25 cents, and your name and address. Send to Kellogg's, Box 346, Battle Creek, Michigan. Here it is again. Send to Kellogg's, Box 346, Battle Creek, Michigan. Be a regular spaceman with an official piece of equipment from Space Academy. Send for your space goggles today.
On the eve of the land rush expedition to the newly discovered planet of Delport, two of the competing rocket ship owners, Chatfield and Sutton, get into a fight. And Dunning, Sutton's captain, mixes in with a blast gun. Tom Corbett tries to disarm him. But as they struggle for the gun, it goes off. And Tom falls apparently lifeless to the floor. Now, a few minutes later.
By the craters of Luna, Tom. I thought you were a goner that time.
I just got caught in the fringe of the blast. Help me up.
Steady now.
Chatfield okay?
Yes. You grabbed Dunning's arm just in time.
Well, then all's well.
Not quite. They're holding Dunning outside, Tom, so you can prefer charges.
Tell them to let him go.
Huh?
Astro, nothing must interfere with blastoff. All 5 ships go on schedule.
If you ask me, the New World ought to be grounded.
Maybe so, but that business of the insignia on the attacker's arm, well, it just looked a little pat. As though it might have been a frame-up.
Oh, there you are.
Hello, Polk.
Hi, what happened to you two anyway? I waited in my room after Astro called, but you didn't show.
I'm glad you came down. Still want that pilot's job?
Still want? Hey, you kidding?
Not a bit of it. Don't ask any questions. There's no time. We've got to screen you right away.
You're wasting time, Corbett.
Well, why?
I'm Lucky Leo, remember? You can screen me, find out I've got 2 heads, or even no head at all. I'm still blasting off in the morning.
There's the teleceiver. Sounds like a local call.
I'll get it. Solar Guard Headquarters, Expedition Section.
Hello, Corbett. Anything new on my pilot? I'm getting worried. We only have a few hours left.
We've just finished. Folks okay, Mr. Chatfield.
Then I've got a pilot.
That's right.
Well, in the words of the bard, sweet are the uses of adversity. 1,000 thanks to you, Corbett.
We're as glad to straighten this out as you are. Just be ready for blast-off at dawn.
I shall take all swift advantage of the hours. Until then, sir, farewell.
What a character. He took this better than I thought.
Tom, listen. If the thespian pilot was beaten up to keep Chatfield's ship out of the race,
yes,
then whoever did it might try again.
Right. I've already asked for extra guards on the firing tables.
Oh, good. Tom, let's get in a little sack time.
Not tonight, Astro. Get your parallel ray. Right now, we're going out to join those guards.
Hold up a minute, Tom. Somebody's moving around over there near Sutton's rocket.
Come on, Astro. Let's investigate.
You there. Come out of those shadows.
Certainly, gentlemen. Good evening.
Oh, it's you, Mr. Chatfield.
What are you doing out here on the spaceport at this hour, sir?
Killing time, waiting for dawn. And the long wait it is, too. Oh, weary nights, oh, long and tedious nights, abate thy hours. Shine, comforts from the east. From Midsummer Night's Dream, you recognize the lines.
I'm afraid not, sir. But we'll have to ask you to leave the firing table area until 2 hours before blast-off.
Rules, rules, rules. What slaves we are to regulation.
Mr. Chatfield, there's been one unfortunate incident already tonight, and we... Tom, the alarm bell.
It's a fire. Look over there at the north end of the field.
A veritable inferno.
Quick, Astro, alert all crews. There's enough rocket fuel stored in that hangar to blast us all to space dust. Back out of the way, everybody. Here comes the emergency squad unit. Stand back. What happened, Tom? Keep back, Captain Dunning. This rocket fuel may go up any second.
Tom, help me clear a lane.
Okay, Astro. Everybody out into the field. Clear out now, on the double, please.
That's far enough, driver. Leave the main unit there.
Get those foam guns trained on that hangar door. I want to detail the 3 men to follow me around on this side.
You 3 in asbestos suits follow Cadet Corbett. Take portable guns.
On over this way. That's it. Now get up close to those windows and open up with the foam. If those flames ever reach the rocket juice, the whole field will go. Okay, that's far enough. Open up.
Smothering on this side, Tom.
Good. Bring your men around my way, Astro.
Come on, you heard him. Let's go.
That's it, men. Train all your guns on that wall.
Look at that phone chilling the blaze.
It's under control now, Astro. Another few minutes and the fire will be out.
We're certainly lucky it didn't start in the back of the hangar, close to the reserve fuel.
We wouldn't be here if it had.
What I want to know is how that fire started. It couldn't be spontaneous combustion with all that automatic safety devices around.
I've been thinking the same thing. The only possible way a fire could break out here would be for somebody to deliberately set it. And then he'd have to disconnect the extinguishers.
Tom, that doesn't make sense. To sabotage the expedition, you'd set a fire on the other side of the field, where the ships are.
I know it doesn't make sense, but I'm sure this fire was no accident just the same.
Now hear this. All expedition ships secure. It is now 8 hours minus 3 minutes.
All secure, Mr. Sutton.
Oh, very good, Dunning. Now stand by for the blast-off signal.
Aye, sir. We're in fine shape, except for those 2 space cadets aboard.
Oh, well, they won't get in our way.
I don't like it, sir. Why do they have to be on the New World?
Well, the names of all 5 ships were put in a space helmet. Ours was the one drawn out. It's as simple as that.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Mr. Sutton. If Cadets Astro and Corbett delay us in any way at all, you've got a kick coming to the Interplanetary Council.
Don't worry. In 2 minutes, we blast off. Those other ships will stay behind us all the way.
Expedition ships stand by. It is now 8 hours minus 20 seconds.
Firing control set, Mr. Chatfield.
Now we are in the hands of fate.
With Lucky Leo aboard, you've got no worries.
I hope so. I have my heart set on that lakeside mineral claim.
It's yours.
5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's been a nice, quiet voyage so far, Tom.
I'll believe it. When we make contact with Captain Strong at Delport, Astro.
By the rings of Saturn, I'll be glad to see the Polaris again. I don't like these civilian tubs.
Oh, I don't know. This seems to be a sound enough ship. I wouldn't want to be aboard the Draco, though. That's a real beat-up crate.
I wonder how we're doing in the race.
Well, here comes Captain Dunning. He can tell us.
Well, boys, how's everything?
Fine, Captain. Any reports yet from the other ships?
We've had the Thespian on our radar screen for the past 6 hours. We can't be very far from her. I don't know about the other 4, but it's the Thespian I want to keep an eye on. She's our only real competition. Great galaxy. What was that?
An explosion. Sounded like the port side.
Oh, well, what could have... There's the alarm. We're losing oxygen.
Let me get to that intercom. Hello. Damage control.
Lieutenant Sutton,
There's been an explosion in the port supply locker. There's a hole in the hull as big as a space sail.
Close the compartment doors. Seal it off.
I can't. They're jammed. Something's wrong with the wiring. We're losing our oxygen supply fast.
Here's the locker, Astro.
Jumping Jupiter, look at the size of that hole.
Now, if there's only some emergency rubber slabs stored here.
There are, Tom. Right here.
Well, quick, give me a hand. We'll slap one over that hole.
Right. Grab hold.
The inside air pressure ought to hold the patch in place temporarily anyway. There. That plugs the leak. Astro, the explosive that caused this was planted here, and I think I know when.
What are you getting at?
That senseless fire on the spaceport last night. Don't you see it ties in with this? It was set to create a diversion so somebody can rig up this explosive.
Hey, I'm beginning to feel strange.
Yes, so am I. I wonder how much oxygen we have left.
Corbett.
Astro, what have you done here? Put an emergency patch on the leak, Captain. But we better get some men out on the hull with welding torches.
No good. We've lost too much oxygen already. We're 50% below absolute minimum.
50%?
No wonder it's getting hard to breathe.
Might as well face the truth. We're riding a death ship. Not one of us will reach Delport alive.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Space Academy to Power Deck Polaris.
Power Deck, Astro speaking. Just a moment, sir.
What's the delay?
I'm adjusting my space goggles. The heavy glare from this reaction gas is giving me trouble.
All right, Cadet Astro. When ready, you may proceed with the special cello recording.
There. That's better. A spaceman, now that I've put my space goggles on, the reaction mass doesn't bother me. You know, I don't know where I'll be when you hear this special recording, but you can be sure of one thing. I'll have my space goggles with me. They sure come in handy when I'm working with reaction mass here on the power deck. These official space goggles are made of a sweeping one-piece colored plastic, and they fit over both eyes. They'll give you eye protection from bright lights, sun glare, and heavy winds. So write down these instructions on how to get your pair of official space goggles. End transmission.
Spaceman, send one box top from Kellogg's Pep, 25 cents, and your name and address. One box top from Kellogg's Pep, 25 cents, and your name and address. Send to Kellogg's, Box 346, Battle Creek, Michigan. Kellogg's, Box 346, Battle Creek, Michigan. Send for your space goggles right away. And tomorrow morning, be sure to eat the Spaceman's Breakfast, Kellogg's Pep. That's well-tasting, build-up wheat cereal.
As the rocket ship New World streaks through outer space bound for the distant, newly discovered planet of Delport, an explosion suddenly tears a hole in her hull, through which the ship's precious supply of oxygen pours out. Tom and Astro succeed in hastily patching up the hole, but the air supply is dangerously low, too low to sustain an Earthling's life.
Tom, can't hold out much longer. I hardly breathe.
Pull yourself together, Astro. Help me.
What are you doing anyway?
Help me remove oxygen tanks from these spacesuits. Tanks ought to help us and crew keep alive a little while longer.
Okay, Tom.
Hey, what are you two doing with those spaceships? Let me explain.
Get away from them.
But listen, we
need them ourselves. Put those tanks in the jet boat. Give me and Dunning enough oxygen to reach Delport.
Abandon your crew?
You can't. Certainly can. Will, too. Stand clear.
I have all the crummy...
The audio.
Don't try anything, Corbett. I warn you.
Just want to answer that call.
Spaceship Thespian calling New World. Spaceship Thespian calling New World.
Chatfield. New World here. We read you, Thespian.
Corbett, we heard your operator's distress signal. We're making a sweep to stand by and lend assistance.
Something. Did you hear that?
I don't believe it. Why should Chatfield ruin his own chances to help us?
What's your position?
We've nearly completed our maneuver. We should be ready to set up a supply feed in 3 minutes. Can your crew hold out that long?
We'll hold.
Just stand by and we'll pump part of our oxygen into your ship. Enough oxygen to reach Delport anyway.
Chatfield, you realize what you're doing? This is sure to cost you the race.
Never mind that. There is the spaceman's code, you know. Stand by for company.
Why, Jupiter, that actor is a real spaceman.
which is more than can be said of present company. Like your jets. And if you know what's good for you, keep them.
You just lost our heads, that's all.
All right. But now you can open those tanks on the spacesuits. So your crew will be alive when Chatfield gets here.
Okay. Get busy, Dunning. By all the galaxies, Tom. We're going to make it to Delport.
That's right, Astro. We may come in last, but we'll come in alive.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom, Corbett, and the Space Cadets on Thursday, when the race is on for mineral wealth on the fabulous planet of Delport, in the second part of The Vultures of Space. Tune in, same time, same station on Thursday, for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal.
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in today's cast were Al Markham, David Kerman, and Maurice Tarplin. Today's program was written by Gilbert Braun, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran, raisins and bran flakes too. They're out of this world, they're out of one package. Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Kellogg's raisins are honeycomb coated to keep them tender, the bran flakes crisper. Kellogg's Raisin Bran, raisins and bran flakes too. They're out of this world, they're out of one package. Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Eat Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Eat Kellogg's Raisin Bran. Eat Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. In the middle of a great forest, quiet as a shadow, while closing in on you, hunting you down like an animal, is a silent archer who will kill you with an arrow through the heart. Listen now as Escape brings you Anthony Ellis's adaptation of the classic story, Robert of Huntington. Be known by all present that a sum of 100 pounds is placed upon the head of the outlaw, Robert of Huntington. And that an additional 50 pounds is to be the reward for whosoever shall name, kill, or capture the following: the felons Little John, Will Scarlett, Will Stutley, Nick Much, the friar known as Tuck, Gamble Gold, Eleanor Dale, Arthur of Bland, David Doncaster, Gilbert of the White Hand. That proclamation was by order of His Worship the Sheriff of Nottingham, in whose house a meeting was taking place. Robin Hood! Robin Hood! I'm sick of the sound of that name. Something's got to be done. It's gone too far. They shoot the king's deer in the king's forest. Why, they call it their forest. Nobody's safe anymore. Beggar, tinker, bishop, nobody. It's got to stop. Now I want Sir Martin of Matlock to say a few words. He's offered his services in the name of the king and myself. Sir Martin. My lords, gentlemen, seems quite obvious that your attempts to put a stop to this Robin Hood have been anything but successful. I've heard it said that more than once the sheriff himself has been tied backwards on an ass and sent trotting home. Quiet. We know all about that, Sir Martin. You mind getting to the point? All right. The point is that in Sherwood Forest there's a band of about 140 who fancy themselves the savior of the poor and the scourge of the rich. Well, that's an old story, and one I'm sure we've come to know pretty well. Any excuse for outlawry. Well, I propose to stop them. To gather a force of men, 100 mounted, 100 archers, and 100 foot soldiers, go into that forest and exterminate Robin Hood with the others once and for all. Wait. We can't afford to give you such an army without some kind of plan. And besides, most of our best men lie buried there as it is. What you're proposing has been tried. It's nothing new. You don't know these outlaws as we do. I have a plan, your worship. Oh? I'll go into the forest alone. Alone? These outlaws don't know me, and I think because of that, I'll be able to succeed. How? Let's say I pretend to be a wronged yeoman. They take me in to become one of the band. I find out their weakness, their sentry posts, everything I can to help us when the time comes for attack. It's very dangerous, you know. We won't be able to help you if they don't believe your story. Well, it's my life, your worship. I can do what I want with it. If I fail, you've lost nothing. If I succeed... All right. And the rest of you? Good. Give me a week. I'll get word to you when the time comes. My signal for the attack will be a blast on this horn. And now, my lords and gentlemen, I'll disguise myself as a poor but honest yeoman, foully wronged by his worship, the Sheriff of Madeline. The sheriff had made an ally in Sir Martin of Matlock, and with him the hope that his worst enemy, Robin Hood, would at last be brought to justice. In Sherwood Forest, two men dressed in Lincoln green sat lazily beside a brook. One tall, handsome, his cap set carelessly at an angle on his head, shading the eyes from the sun. The other man, a giant, at least 7 feet, and an ell or more around the waist, chewing and sucking at the marrow of an entire oxen thigh bone. I'm going to have to speak to Nick much about the quality of the sheriff's beef, Robin. Got a feeling he's letting graze on sour grass. Pounded good enough, little... Little John. You know, I've been thinking. Oh, sir. When was the last time the sheriff of Nottingham came to Sherwood? I remember. When Nick Lutz and I brought him. Remember we tied him backwards? Yes, I remember. More than a year ago, wasn't it? Doesn't it seem strange to you? Strange? Yeah. Well, no, dull maybe. Life isn't the same without that nasty little toad to worry. Robin, you've got an idea. We go to Nottingham, huh? We could do it again. 20 men storm his house. No, I wasn't thinking of that. But, I have a feeling that something is wrong. He's up to something. I can feel it. The forest has been too quiet, and we haven't been bothered for a long time. I notice you're growing the beginning of a pot. Don't talk to me about pots, you great cumbersome horse. Little John.
Wait a minute. What? Listen. To what? Someone's coming. Pick up your bowl. Get me cover from the trees over there. I'll wait here. See who it is. And be careful, Robin.
Morning, stranger. Well, good morning to you, my friend. I seem to have lost my way. Can you tell me where I am? Certainly. This is Sherwood Forest. Where are you going? Nowhere? Anywhere. Where do you come from? Nottingham. Huh? Yes, today, thanks to the sheriff, I lost my cottage, my cow, my land, everything. Oh? I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I know the forest well enough. If you like, I'll guide you through it. Thanks. But, I'm looking for a man here, a particular man. No? Robin Hood. Possibly you know him. He's called an outlaw by some, but there are others who swear by him. Yes, I know. Do you mind if I ask you why you want to find him? Well, they say he's always in need of good yeomen. Now that I'm a felon in the eyes of the king, I've nothing much to live for, unless he takes me into his company. Well, what is this nasty thing that you did? It was one of the king's deer. I shot it when seen by Forrester. Yeah. I escaped with my life, my longbow, and these arrows. Uh-huh. Now, from the look of your eye, I'd say you have the making of an archer. Wait a minute. Little John? What's your name, my friend? Martin Greenleaf. This little fellow coming here is called Little John. Martin Greenleaf wants to join the band of Sherwood Forest. I heard the talk. What are you called? Robin Hood. I wasn't sure. Take him to David Doncaster, Little John. Have him measured for his human green. And then tell Nick Much to prepare some food for him. Welcome to Sherwood, Martin Greenleaf. I think you can see to it that you'll never have regrets for the day. So according to his plan, Sir Martin of Matlock was received with all the hospitality and kindness the outlaws could give. Only one looked on the newcomer with a jaundiced eye, Little John. Friar Tuck came upon the giant, sullenly whittling a shaving of wood. And what's the matter with you, little man, huh? Your face like that is enough to make a bee's nectar sour. Now, why aren't you at table feasting with that newcomer, Martin? Fat friar. Well, go away. I didn't ask for your company. Oh, say that's all. I don't like yours either. That's no answer to my question. All right, then. I don't like him. This Martin Greenleaf. Oh? I don't know why. Robin's too easy. He's a mark for a sad story. This fellow's told one, that's all. And if the story is true? If. I'd rather have found that out before inviting him to join us. You are a suspicious chap. Well, go on back and stuff yourself. I didn't ask you. Where are you going, chap? To look for better company. But Little John had another idea. He dressed himself in the disguise of a tailor and carrying nothing but a stave and a dagger, he made his way to Nottingham, where he hoped to find out what he could about Martin Greenleaf. But luck wasn't with him because he'd gone less than a mile beyond the forest when he was seen by 6 of the sheriff's henchmen. And because of his great height, they recognized him. I tell you it is. It's Little John. I've seen him before when we fought the outlaws in the forest. Take him! But the odds were too great, and finally Little John was taken prisoner into Nottingham, where he was locked in prison to await the sheriff's displeasure. It was Will Scarlet who heard the news from a friendly tinker and carried it to the outlaws. Robin! Quiet, all of you, quiet! Quiet! What's the matter, Will? Little John. Well, what about Little John? The sheriff's men took him by surprise. They got him now, in Nottingham. When? He was here a little while ago. That's all I can tell you.
From the Nottingham Road to Tinker Squares, it was Little John.
All right, we'll go to Nottingham then. For one, I'll pick up the sheriff's hat and throw in the dogs when we come back.
We will return to Escape and tonight's story, Robert of Huntington, in just a moment. For story and chorus singing, lend your ears to the Choral Ears every Sunday night on most of these same CBS radio stations. Yes, later tonight, enjoy the Choral Ears. And now, back to Escape. When Sir Martin of Matlock heard the news, he smiled. He hadn't expected things to work so well, so quickly. But also the suddenness of the event had taken him by surprise, and he had to find a way to warn the sheriff of Robin's decision. Because every available man would be needed in the attempt to free Little John, Robin gave the spy a sword and arrows, and the men in Lincoln Green began the march through Sherwood to Nottingham. They stopped at the edge of the forest, and Robin called a council meeting.
We'll wait until it gets dark. Oh, but every hour, Robin, every minute we wait, Little John has less of a chance.
Chance? What chance do you think we'd have if we attacked in daylight?
That's it, Will. That's when we've got to wait.
Well, I say curse the daylight and curse the sacrifice. Well, we're talking Little John may be dying.
There's no other choice, Nick. Darkness is only about 2 hours away. With it, we'll have an element of surprise. Without that, we're finished. And so is Little John.
Can I say something, Robin?
What? Oh, Martin Greenleaf, of course.
Wouldn't I be the least likely to be recognized among you? I mean, supposing I went to the prison alone, say as a pasty maker, selling my wares to the guards.
You've got a lot of courage, Martin, but
what?
You know, it may be the thing.
Oh, Robin,
If you were to make yourself known to the guards, they might not suspect. When they're relieved of duty and replaced by others for the night, that might be our chance. While they're changing, if you could give us the signal to attack.
3 blasts on my horn.
Yes, 3. If you are suspected, though, you know what it will mean.
I'll take that chance. You took one with me, didn't you, Robin?
All right, Martin. Do we all agree on it? Leave the sword and bow with us. We'll have them for you ready when it's time. And good luck, Martin.
And in the prison, Little John Huntington was the sheriff of Nottingham and his guards. The sheriff was feeling very pleased with himself at that moment.
You naughty man. You're going to pay for all these years, you know. I've waited a long time for this. Perhaps you thought I'd forgotten your treatment of me the last time I was forced to go with you to the forest.
Thank you,
You'll pay. You're going to pay. Slowly.
Having to listen to you is payment enough, you nasty little maggot.
You wait. You won't be laughing long. This is a little matter of your master, Robin Hood. I've got a surprise for him, don't you worry. Couldn't be better. We won't have to bring him out of hiding. He'll come to us. I know he'll try to do something heroic. Some more honest yeomen come to join your band today?
Then I was right.
Oh, yes, you were right. They'll come. When they do, we'll be ready. 300 men, you ugly pig. Waiting for them now inside the gates of the town. What have you got to say about that? My little John.
And at the edge of the forest, Robin and his men were also waiting. Each man silent with his own thoughts, and then the sun was gone from the sky. Robin stood a little apart, sharpening the blade of his dagger.
spoke to me about before he left us. Well, what was it? This Martin Greenleaf. No? Well, go on. Well, now, John didn't seem to know why, but he said he didn't like her man, didn't trust him. Now, that's strange for little John. Yeah. At first, I wondered about it. Then I forgot, and now I'm beginning to wonder again. And Martin's willingness to do what he's done. You know, it is possible that he's one of the sheriff. No, I can't believe that. Well, you've always been a good man, Robin. That's one of the reasons I joined you. I don't say I blame you if you thought his story was true. But at the same time, if it wasn't, if he was lying, then little John's capture is on my head. Yes. Why would he be so anxious to risk his life? He doesn't know little John. Why should he care that much? I should have spoken of this before. Yeah, and before I might not have listened, which is even more foolishness. Call the men together, Fry. We've got to decide about this. And they decided. There was no proof of Martin Greenleaf's wrongdoing, but the thought was planted and grew until the fears were shared by all of them. And then Robin made his plan. Meanwhile, at the sheriff's house, for there the lawmaker had gone to eat the evening meal, a servant entered, and close behind was Sir Martin of Matlock. Sir Martin, you've got word. Better than that. I've got their plan of attack. You mean they're coming now? At nightfall. Better and better. They're ready. I never dreamed of such quick results. When the guards are changed in the prison court tonight, that's the signal for attack. I'm to blow 3 times on my horn. Good. The archers will be posted on the prison wall. Yes, and pikesmen inside the gates. And once the outlaws are in, those that haven't been killed by the arrows, the horsemen can finish. We've got him. We've got him. But that wasn't the first time the sheriff had said these very same words, only to see his triumph melt away through his fingers. A little while later, as the last gleam of sunset was turning from gold to rust and clouds were tinged with purple, a ragged and forlorn figure was seen mingling with the soldiers inside the prison gate. Slowly, the beggar made his way closer and closer to the prison door. Then he was inside and sidling up to the guard who was watching the preparations in the court. Go on, get out of here. I haven't got anything for you. Get out.
Kind sir, all I ask is that you...
Don't make a sound or I'll cut your head off, and I mean it. Get away from the door. Good. All right, quickly. Take me to the dungeon where you're holding little John. And remember one sound and you're going to be a very dead man. The key. Little John. Little John.
That you, Robin?
Yes. I was certain I'd be dancing at the end of a rope. Not yet, little man. Guard the key to the chains. Hurry. We've got to get out before the prison gates are closed. There's only a minute. Pretty small odds. We've got to run like hares.
Oh, give me a second to exercise.
Oh, this is the dog who hit me while I was chained. Here, 1 second, Robin.
Oh, no.
Tilt your head, Master Foul Fellow. Just more. There. Now, Robin, I'm ready. Robin and Little John made their way back to the great prison door, and outside into the court where the light of day was almost gone. 2 soldiers were approaching the gate to close it. And in the center of the square stood Sir Martin of Matlock, bugle in his hand. Astride away, looking pleased, the Sheriff of Nottingham. Walk as quickly as you can and as close to the walls as possible. Come on. Oh, I'd give my life for my sword even I stayed now. You shouldn't have come, Robin. When I say the word, run. Hey, look. Starting to change the guard at the gates. All I hope is when Martin Greenleaf gives the signal to blow the brains right out of his head. Because of the confusion, Robin and Little John escaped from Nottingham. And as he'd planned, Robin led the way across the Lee to a long hedgerow some 200 rods from the town walls. And there they stopped because behind the brush was Robin's entire force. And each man had an arrow ready in his bow.
Give me a sword, one of you, and a bow. I had not much hope of giving them to you, but I brought them along in prayerful faith. That old devil back. Quiet now, men. They'll be coming out of the town in a moment. Be ready at the signal.
And moments later, they saw the mounted soldiers ride out. Behind them had run the pikesmen and archers, fanning out in a solid line. The lights of Nottingham were behind them, and where the men of the forest were hidden in darkness, such was not the case with the sheriff's men. The sound of hoofs fell upon the stillness, and behind the hedgerow, every string full taut, every long bow bent. Terrible. Almost every horseman had been unseated at the first volley, and the deadly cloud of arrows continued to fall steadily amongst the sheriff's army. And when finally in complete defeat the archers and pikesmen were falling back, the men in green with drawn swords charged and completed the rout. It was Robin who came upon Sir Martin of Matlock. Martin, follow your... With a tremendous stroke, Robin cut him down. The battle lasted only a few moments longer, and then on a signal from Robin, the men of Sherwood melted back into the darkness in the forest, leaving the field strewn with the sheriff's dead and hurt soldiers. Little John's wounded shoulder was attended to by Friar Tuck, as were the wounds of the others. And then a great merrymaking began, which lasted far into the night. Sheriff of Nottingham, at the first sound of battle, he ran into his house, and locking the door behind him, stood quivering in fear until the news of defeat was brought to him. And then his great courage returned, and he swore a mighty oath that someday he'd go again into Sherwood, and by his own hand bring Robert of Huntington to justice.
Under the direction of Norman MacDonald, Escape has brought you Robert of Huntington, adapted by Anthony Ellis, starring William Conrad as Robert Hood. Featured in the cast were Lawrence Dobkin, Edgar Barrier, and Herb Ellis, with Jack Crucian, Vic Perrin, John Stevenson, Harry Bartell, and Peter Leeds. Editorial supervision is by John Meston, and the special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week. You are standing
standing at the entrance of a walled Arab town, while behind you, coming slowly through the night, are the shuffling footsteps of a blind beggar who will lead you into a harrowing world of darkness and terror.
Playhouse tomorrow night and most of these same CBS stations. It's The Petrified Forest, starring Wendell Corey in the noted Robert E. Sherwood drama of romantic adventure. For a listening treat, be sure not to miss The Petrified Forest on CBS Radio tomorrow night. It's the sparkling addition to Broadway Playhouse's long list of outstanding dramatic productions. This is Roy Rowan speaking.
Instant Ralston and regular Ralston, the hot whole wheat cereals in the red and white checkerboard packages, present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy are in their spacesuits on Saturn's moon number 5. Cautiously, they make their way toward a criminal who has already made one attempt upon their lives.
Smoking rockets, what was that? Space grenade. Well, if you hadn't pulled me down, we'd have got some chunks of rock right through our suits. We can't back out now. Let's go. Yes, sir.
Hold it, Corey. I'll get you this time.
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, The Lost Condor. Hey there, Space Patroller. Hold up a minute. What's all the rush?
Oh, hi, Captain Tuso. I'm in a hurry to get to the grocer's.
I bet you I know why. You're after more of those swell interplanetary space coins I hear jingling right there in your own pocket.
Yes, sir. Are they ever neat? Fun to swap and save. Got almost a whole set and I want lots more. So long, Captain Tuso. Gotta blast off fast.
Space Patrollers, how about you? Have you started building up your own space coin collection? You get a space coin inside of every new package of hot Ralston. And say, have you started powering up with a good hot breakfast these cold mornings? A good hot breakfast. That means a bowlful or two of good hot Ralston, instant or regular. The hot whole wheat energy cereals that give you important vitamins and minerals in every spoonful. And taste out of this world, too. Yes, there's just no other cereal that gives you so much power, yet tastes so good. So, Space Patrollers, you blast off fast for your grocer. Get yourself some good hot Ralston, instant or regular. And look for the new packages with the picture of Commander Corey or Cadet Happy on the outside and with the neat interplanetary space coin on the inside. Start building up your own space coin collection right away and start powering up with good hot Ralston today. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Lost Condor. Buzz Corey is at a criminal rehabilitation center on the planet Venus, conducting his annual inspection when he receives a strange request to one of the doctors. A patient named Don Flake has asked permission to speak to him. Right now, Buzz and Mr. Cadet Happy are seated in the spacious lounge of the discharge section talking to the young man.
It's awfully good of you to see me, Commander.
What is it you wanted to talk to me about, Flake?
Well, that's the strange part. I don't know exactly. I suppose I could be happy about being released. But I'm not. I'm worried.
There's nothing to worry about. You have a job and a place to stay.
Sure, you'll be a draftsman at spacecraft plant number 2 on Mars. It's all arranged.
That isn't what bothers me. I have the feeling I haven't told the authorities everything.
If that's all that's the matter, you can stop worrying. When you were arrested, you were given a brainograph test. Everything you knew about the crime you committed was on microtape.
Sure, you couldn't have held anything back if you wanted to.
Still, I have a feeling that I know something unpleasant, something evil.
Dealing with what? A certain place or person?
Well, that's the trouble. It's nothing definite.
If there is something about a crime in your subconscious mind, it would have shown up in the first test.
Well, maybe it'll come to me later, after I'm released.
It may, but the chances are it isn't very serious.
I hope not. My diary. I'll go through that when I get settled.
Your diary?
Yeah. Before I was arrested, I kept a detailed record of everything I did. Perhaps some entry in my diary may jog my memory.
Well, that's possible. If it turns out to be important, let me know.
I certainly will, Commander. And thanks very much for talking.
Good luck, Blake. Come on, Happy. We'd better get back to Terra.
A few days later, young Don Blake returns to his home a short distance from the spacecraft plant in Laurel City on the planet Mars. And as he enters the comfortable living room...
Oh! Who are you?
Hello, Blake. Nice place you've got here.
How did you get in?
You just walked in. The door wasn't locked.
No. No, I don't like locked doors.
I can understand why.
You haven't told me who you are.
Doesn't matter. I know who you are and where you've been for the past 9 months.
Well, that's no secret, but I can't see it's any of your business.
Now, don't get testy. I'm here to do you a favor. A big favor.
What kind of a favor?
You have some information I can use. I'm willing to pay for it.
Information about my work? If that's what you're after, you can get out of here right now.
Calm down, Blake. Calm down. The information I want has nothing to do with your present job. It's about something that happened about 10 months ago.
You mean my property I committed?
Maybe.
Okay.
Tell me, does the name Condor mean anything to you?
Condor?
You associated with the spaceship?
No.
I think hard. Did you ever have any dealings with the pilot of a tramp spaceship called the Condor?
What? No, I'm afraid I can't help you now. If you'll be good enough to go, I'll...
Hold on. Let's not give up so easily. The memory is sometimes a freakish thing. Isn't that why you once kept a diary?
How do you know that?
I know many things about you, Blake. You wrote many trivial things in that diary. The titles of books you read, the names of chance acquaintances.
Yes, that's right, but...
And the name of the pilot of the Condor is very likely in your diary, or at least a clue to his identity.
I'm sure you're mistaken.
It won't hurt to let me look through the book.
How much are you willing to pay me for?
Well, not entirely. The money will be for you to keep this conversation a secret. How about it, Blake?
I don't like this at all. You won't even tell me who you are, yet you offer me money for information on a purely personal, private document. No, I'm not interested.
Better think it over, Blake, for your own good.
Is that a threat?
That crime you committed a few months ago. Did it ever occur to you that someone may have been behind the scenes, quietly arranging events to your advantage, sort of paving the way for you?
No, it was my own idea. I was in it by myself. It was just an accident that I found a man who could help me dispose of a loot.
Accident, was it? Blake, that man was there when you needed him because I planned a complex chain of events.
But I got caught. Everything stolen was recovered.
I planned that, too. Your petty crime was arranged to distract attention from a much bigger crime.
I don't believe it.
That's unimportant. My plan was complex to protect myself. There were many people involved, each as ignorant of the master plan as you were. When an unforeseen accident occurred, I had to put my chessboard away for 10 months, so to speak, until I could put a certain pawn back into play.
And I'm the pawn, have it?
Exactly. Your diary probably contains the small bit of information I need to win the game. If you don't help me, well, I can easily arrange another series of events around you.
You can't make me commit another crime. No.
I wouldn't be too sure, Blake. In any case, I could easily arrange a crime in which you would be the victim. It would be a shame if your second chance in life were to be cut short, Blake. I'll give you 48 hours to think it over. If you're smart, you'll give me the diary when I come back.
Several hours later, on the man-made planet Terra, Buzz and Happy are working late at Space Patrol headquarters.
I'll get it to you.
Commander Corey's office. Could I help you, man? Who's calling? Just a minute, please. Sir, it's John Blake.
Blake? Oh, from the rehab center.
Yes, sir. He wants to talk to you. It's important.
All right, sir. This is Commander Corey. How are you, Blake?
I've got to talk to you.
Where are you?
Terra Spaceport.
All right, come on up. I'll tell the duty officer to let you in.
No. I wouldn't dare do that.
What's the matter? Are you in trouble?
Not yet, but I can't tell you over the phone. It's about the matter I spoke to you about on Venus. It involves a serious crime. I just got in from Mars, and I may be followed if I leave the spaceport.
Followed? By whom?
Commander, I'm near gate 22. Get down here right away.
All right, Blake. I'll be there. Corey out. Come on, Happy.
Gate 22 at the Big Terra spaceport is far down the line, away from the regular passenger gate. Unobtrusively, Buzz and Happy make their way to the appointed place. Buzz listens to Blake's story of the strange visitor and his vague but alarming threat.
So I thought I'd better come here and tell you all about the whole story.
You never saw this man before?
No, I'm positive.
And he didn't tell you his name?
No.
Where is the diary?
I've got it right here inside my jacket.
Better give it to me.
Yeah, glad to. Maybe I've got too much imagination, but ever since I talked to that man, I've had the feeling that he's guilty of some crime. The crime I helped to commit.
Don't draw any conclusions until we get all the facts. Happy.
Yes, sir?
See that Mr. Blake gets back safely to Mars. Put him aboard the next passenger ship out of Terra.
Commander, you're not going to send me back to Mars.
You'll be guarded. When that fellow shows up for his appointment, we'll nab him. Now go along with you.
All right, Commander.
Don't lose any of you.
It's him. That's the man.
You're very foolish to try this, Blake. Now, Commander, give me that diary. Why should you be interested in this man's diary? Quit stalling. Don't make any move toward your weapons. If I'm forced to use this blaster, it'll attract attention. Others might be hurt. The diary, please. All right. I'm anxious to see what use you'll make of it, Mr. Corbett. Police Corbett. That name means nothing to you. Yes, and it never will. Move toward that parked surface car. Casually, please. Come along, Blake. And be careful not to get between the space patrolman and my gun.
What are you going to do, Corbett?
I'll explain in due time. Keep moving, gentlemen. So this is the car. Commander, you and the cadet get in the back. Come on. You'll drive, Blake. I'll keep our friends covered. Go on, Blake. Do as I tell you. All right. Now, the slightest move from either of you, and you'll find out what a blast gun does at close range. Start the car, Blake. Drive through the gate, slowly, just as though we were driving out to the ship. Turn left, there, at the far end of the port.
There's no ship out here.
No. Nothing but a fuel storage tank. Now, you two in the back, lean forward. Come on. All right, Corey, here's yours.
Hey, what's the idea?
Now, Blake, step out of the car.
No.
You heard me.
No.
Jump unless you want to be part of the action.
What do you mean?
Get out. I'll follow as soon as I head the car right for that fuel tank. Now, get out!
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Listen to that football player kick that ball. And listen to that crowd cheer. Power, that's what he's got. More power to him and more power to you. Power to think fast and act fast. And you get it from a power breakfast with the swell-tasting whole wheat power cereal, Good Hot Roastin', instant or regular. More power to you, because 1 ounce of delicious Hot Roastin' gives you 20% of the vitamin B1 and 11% of the iron you need all day long. And that's not all. Hot Roastin' gives you all the power of whole wheat and twice as much power from the heart of the wheat. That's why a good breakfast with Hot Roastin' gives you extra protein for powerful muscles, extra vitamins for sturdy growth and steady nerves. So join the power team. Get Hot Roastin', instant or regular, at your grocer's today. No other cereal gives you so much power, yet tastes so good. So more power to you from Good Hot Roastin'. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, The Lost Condor. For a reason he is not fully divulged, the man calling himself Least Corbett is after a diary belonging to Don Blake, a young man recently released from a criminal rehabilitation center. While Buzz and Appy were talking to Blake in a dimly lit portion of the spaceport, Reese Corbett appeared and, drawing a blast gun, took the diary and then forced the three men into a surface car. After knocking out Buzz and Happy with the butt of his gun, Corbett ordered Blake to jump from the moving car. Then Corbett leaped out, leaving Buzz and Happy in the car, which is now roaring across the spaceport toward a fuel storage tank. Dazed from a vicious blow, Cadet Happy raises his head.
Oh, my head. Look at rocket. Who's driving? Hey, Commander, we're headed right for a fuel tank. Grab the wheel, Happy. Oh, we just missed it, Commander. Corbett was certainly anxious to get rid of us. And Blake must have been right about that diary being important.
Now Corbett's got Blake and the diary. Head for the guard shack near Gate 5, and we'll alert Space Control.
Across the spaceport, Corbett and Blake, bruised by their leap from the moving surface car, watch the car careen around the strip and finally come to a stop.
I heard it when it jumped.
You'll get a lot worse than a bad leg if you don't hurry. We've got to get to my spaceship and blast off before Corey alerts the control tower.
Blast off where?
Never mind. Just get moving.
In the guard shack, Commander Corey orders Space Control to ground all private cruisers, then orders a careful check of all passenger ships.
Gate 5, Corporal Niven here. Yes, Captain. Just a moment, sir.
Commander Corey. Yes? For you, sir. Captain Barton in the tower. Thanks.
What is it, Captain? What? Didn't that order get through? I see. All right, Captain. I'll be in Colonel Ryan's office at Port Headquarters until further notice. Corey out.
Got away, huh?
Yeah. Corbett used a false identification call to the tower. He must have been ready for this kind of a getaway. He got through the locks before the tower noticed the mistake.
Couldn't we blast off after it?
Yes, but if he has Blake with him, we'd be at a disadvantage. First, let's see if we can find out what Corbett is up to.
Well, how are we going to do that?
He must have pulled off some time, and about the time Blake was arrested, probably a major robbery that's still unsolved. If we check the record for that particular time, we might find out which one it was.
Right. Then there's this mystery word, Condor. It's connected somehow to a pilot or a tramp spaceship. Well, spaceship registry might run that down for us.
Yeah, if it could, Corbett wouldn't wait 10 months for Blake to be released. No. Condor must be a nickname known to a limited circle. I'll contact a few pilots and spread the word around. To find out who or what the Condor is before Corbett does, you can lay a trap for him.
Elsewhere, avoiding the space lanes, a private cruiser speeds away from Terra toward the outer planets. With frequent glances at the viewscopes, Reese Corbett sets the controls on automatic pilot, then turns to Don Blake.
All right, you've had plenty of time to read over your entries in the diary. Find anything out about the Condor?
No. It's no use, Corbett. I couldn't help you even if I wanted to.
You're not qualified to decide that. While I was making it easy for you to get away with your poultry haul, I had another gang working on a job of real value.
What was it?
Never mind. At one time, your loot and mine were aboard the same ship. And the valuable stuff was transferred by another group of intermediaries. With a slip of a curb.
What makes you think the information is in my diary?
Because, Blake, you are an observant young man, but not a very analytical one. You collect facts, but you don't source them. Your mind is like a sheet of old-fashioned fly paper. It catches everything that touches it, but digests nothing. That's why I selected you above 100 others. And I'll read your diary aloud. When you come to the right entry, I'll recognize it. Go on. Start with the entry for...
In the spaceport office on Terra, Cadet Happy brings Commander Corey a sheaf of reports he's just received by spaceophone.
Here it is, sir. List of crimes that occurred during the period you mentioned.
Thanks, Happy.
I put a check mark on this one, sir.
1 million space credits stolen from Underplanet Bank. Nothing recovered to date. All suspects arrested so far have been released as having no knowledge of the crime.
It's pretty hot, doesn't it?
Yes, Hap, it does. And it all ties in with the information I have on the Condor. Got a lead, Hap. One of our men got hold of a commercial pilot who could talk.
And you found out what the Condor is?
Yes. It was an old tramp spaceship. No one has seen or heard of it for several months. It's owned by an old-time pilot named Stubby Sykes.
Did he disappear with the ship?
No, he's now working as a mechanic.
Mechanic? Where?
You'll find out when you get to the Jupiter City spaceport. Let's go.
Hours later, the Terra 5 lands at Jupiter City Spaceport, and Buzz and Happy go immediately to a rambling structure bearing the sign Repair Shop Number 6. A foreman points toward a short, stocky, middle-aged man engaged in straightening a section of rocket engine housing.
Excuse me, are you Stubby Sykes?
Yep.
Could I talk to you a minute?
Sure. Glad of a chance to rest. Swinging hammers, heavy work.
It must be. I'm Commander Corey of the Space Patrol, Mrs. Cadet Happy. Hello, Mr. Sykes.
Howdy. Won't shake hands. Pretty greasy.
Say, isn't there an easier way to straighten that metal, Mr. Sykes? I mean, with a machine instead of a hammer?
Son, there's 3 ways of doing the job. Easy way, hard way, and the right way. I'm doing it the right way.
I guess I got told.
I guess you did. Mr. Sykes, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Fire rockets?
Did you ever own a spaceship called the Condor? Did you, Mr. Sykes?
Yeah.
Boy, what happened to it?
Ship can't last forever, Commander. You know that.
Yes, but what happened to the Condor?
It's an old ship. Done its work and had its day. Cracked up. Smashed, so now I'm a mechanic. That answer your question?
Pardon me. When did this happen?
10 months ago, more or less.
Where?
On Saturn's 5th moon. Controls wouldn't work. Tried to land to make repairs. Kind of cracked up. I finally hailed a small lunar cruiser. With a real smart aleck pilot. He was lucky I didn't toss him through his own nose port with the cracks he made about the Condor.
I'm sorry about your ship, Mr. Sykes. Oh, was any of the cargo salvaged?
Cargo? Nothing but junk. Not even a payload. A few 100 pounds of processed food, a few cases of tools. Nobody'd bother going after it. Record's still there.
Mr. Sykes, would you help me find the Condor?
Well, right now I'm on overtime. Got to get this job done today.
How about tomorrow morning?
All right. Tomorrow morning.
Fine. I'll make arrangements with the foreman.
However, the next morning, after a visit to the airport, Happy returns with disturbing news.
Commander, Mr. Sykes is gone.
Are you sure, Hap?
I just checked with the foreman. He got aboard a spaceship about an hour ago with another man. Sykes' roommate saw him, and the roommate knows everybody that Sykes knows, and this fellow was a complete stranger. From the description, he sounds like Reese Corbett.
We'll find out. Get to the ship, Hap. We're blasting off for Saturn number 5.
A private space cruiser flies low over the craggy surface of Saturn's 5th moon. Reese Corbett is at the controls as Stubby Sykes scans the craters and deep ravines.
Yeah, ought to be sighting Condor pretty quick now, Mr. Corbett.
Fine.
Hope I did right in not telling that Commander Corey fellow I was going with you.
You'd have been foolish to tell him, Sykes. The new salvage law gives the Space Patrol 100% of the proceeds from the salvage of wrecked spaceships and cargoes. Corey wouldn't have to give you a single credit, even if the Condor is your own ship.
No, I didn't know about that law. I haven't been following that end of business lately.
Lucky I located you in time, Sykes.
Never did know who owned part of that cargo I was hauling. Never thought it was worth going after.
I was deceived by a dishonest agent working for me at the time. It's taken me 10 months to find you.
There she is. There's the Condor down there in that crater just the way I left her.
Get out the spacesuit, Sykes. I'll land the ship close to the wreck so we don't have far to carry the cargo.
Near as I can tell at this distance, Commander, they're decelerating.
It must be preparing to land.
You're right, sir. They sighted the Condor. The wreck shows up in the viewscope way up in the corner. Grid 9-8.
Yes, I see it. Now the trick is to land close to them without giving them a chance to blast off. We can come in low and keep the sun behind us.
Yeah, they won't be able to hear a rocket as long as there isn't any atmosphere.
Be sure your suit spaceophone is set to our secret frequency. We may have to use the regular frequency to talk to them, but I don't want them picking us up till we're ready.
On the surface of Saturn's 5th moon, Sykes and Corbett stand amid the wreckage of the old spaceship. Scattered about are half a dozen large crates, which Corbett examines carefully. Unnoticed by either man is a tiny black dot against the bright disk of the sun, a dot that grows steadily larger.
We won't have to move all of these crates, Sykes. Yes, you know what you're doing, Mr. Corbett, but none of this stuff looks very valuable to me.
Oh, don't you worry about that. You'll get the 500 credits I promised you the moment we're through loading and back in the ship.
That isn't a life for you. Here I am, a mechanic, getting more for lugging a few crates than I got for many an interplanetary trip as captain of the old Condor.
I couldn't have found the Condor without you. Besides, I may need your help to destroy the wreckage.
Huh? Don't need destroying anymore.
3 space grenades will blast the old hunk to pieces, and the Space Patrol will never find it.
That hardly seems necessary, Mr. Corbett. What do you care?
Come on, guys. Let's get to work. Help me with this crate.
All right. You're the boss. Say, over there. Where'd that other ship come from? Darned if it didn't land without me noticing. It's Corey's ship. Those two fellows in spacesuits. Must be Corey and his cadet. Well, we was here first, so I guess...
Don't stand there, Jabbering. Stop. Take one of these space grenades.
Say, hold on. What do you want to do?
Yes.
Corbett, you crazy.
Smoking rockets, what was that? Space grenade. Wow, if you hadn't pulled me down, we'd have got some of those chunks of rock right through our suits. We can't back out now. Get behind this rock, Happy. It looks like Sykes is on our side. He's pulling Corbett's arm. Corbett's got another grenade. Shall we rush them? Yes, from above. Huh? With low gravity on this moon, we can reach Corbett in one leap. Yes, sir, but we'll come down awful slow. We'll use our jetpacks to force us down quickly. All right, Hap, jump. Hey, he missed us again, thanks to Sykes. Use your jetpack, Hap. Hit the ground as soon as you can. Yes, sir. Tell me, where's Blake? He's in the ship, locked up in the compartment. He's all right. Better be.
Commander?
Yes, Sykes.
Tried to stop Corbett from harming you. Don't know what he's up to, honest to God.
I believe you. Happy, show Sykes what Corbett came here for. Show him what's in that damaged crate. Oh, yes, sir. Here, Sykes. Take a look at this.
Space credits? Bales of it.
$1 million of them, Sykes. You and Blake can split the reward.
Reward? I get a reward?
Certainly. Blake led us to you, and you led us to the money.
Oh, Condor. Seems like she's worth more busted up on the ground than she is flying.
Well, with your share of the reward, you can probably get another ship, Mr. Sykes.
Nope. I reckon I'm just like the Condor here. Better off on the ground. It's all the same to you. Buy me a new hammer. A big one.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment.
Hi, Space Patrollers. Commander Corey here.
Space Patroller Kevin Rogers here.
Space Patroller Rogers and I are just finishing up the most important meal of the day.
Yes, sir. Just had a power breakfast.
And a power breakfast always means a big bowl full or two of good hot Ralston.
Instant Ralston or regular Ralston.
Those wonderful hot whole wheat energy cereals that give you twice as many body-building elements from the...
part of the wheat.
Right. Good hot Ralston does give you all the vitamins and minerals that any other cereal provides and twice as much power from the...
part of the wheat.
Right again, Space Patroller Rogers. And it tastes just as good as it is good for you. So take it from me, Space Patrollers, and I've investigated every other cereal in the universe. No other cereal gives you so much power yet tastes so good. That's why it's the official hot cereal of the Space Patrol. So head for your grocers, get a package of good hot Ralston right away.
And remember, you get a swell interplanetary space coin inside every package.
And now a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy have entered a warehouse on the planet Venus to rescue an abducted explorer. As they creep up a flight of stairs, two criminals lurk above them behind a huge barrel.
Easy now, Happy. I've got Marcus in the place somehow. Commander, the top of the stairs.
Get your hands up. We're space patrolmen.
Come up and get it.
Come on, Hap.
Comes the barrel, Perry. Throw it down on him.
Commander, look out!
Be sure to join us again next week for the thrilling story, The Venus-Tulania Mystery, when Instant Ralston and Regular Ralston again present Space Patrol! Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Mike Devery. Other players were Ken Mayer, Norman Jolly, Stephen Robertson, and Joe Cranston. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Instant Ralston and Regular Ralston again present Space Patrol! This is Dick Tufeld in Los Angeles reporting on the famous jet plane assigned to the vital Air Force mission of defending America's homeland, Lockheed's F-94C Starfire. In a moment, we'll hear from Tony Levere, the well-known record-breaking test pilot on the Starfire. Within seconds after warning, this radar-controlled interceptor can be off the ground and streaking to 45,000 feet or higher. Packing 48 rockets, it can fly and fight in sunshine or darkness at speeds of more than 600 miles per hour. Now, Tony LaVere, tape recorded this morning at a California air base.
You know, good health is important to a test pilot, and I have to stay in top condition. I get lots of rest and eat plenty of good food. That's why I like a good cereal for breakfast, like Rice Chex or Wheat Chex. They have real energy and they taste swell. Why don't you try them?
No other cereal, puff or flake, contains so much nourishment in such concentrated bite-sized form. So take a tip from Tony LaVere, Joe Lynch, and other top test pilots. Make your cereals Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. This program is broadcast for Armed Forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.